subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bass sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas, an advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey, man, I do what I do.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Dennis Spurling. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. 43TX. Everybody else in the chat room, make sure you join the membership. Shout out to BPM5136. Shout out to Wrench Mob. If you have a wrench, make sure that you let me know by just saying what's up or let me know where you're checking in from. But anyway, I'd like to welcome everybody to the podcast. I want to thank everybody for the time you spent with me, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel and hit like, share, and subscribe, actually. But without further ado, I want to talk to you all about what seems to be going on. And I know you all have seen the thumbnail, man, but the sports world is in an uproar because the Los Angeles Lakers, this is Magic Johnson of the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the Magic. That's what I remember. But apparently, the Laker lineup is gonna be all white. Look at that, man. Now, I haven't really paid too much attention to basketball since Michael Jordan's last game, so I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've never been a basketball fan, but I was pretty sure that basketball was something that the brothers had on lock. You know what I'm saying? It was just, I mean, it you know, from the contrast in the 1950s to what I saw growing up in the 1980s, man, it was just always brothers balling. But my question to you all today is, does the NBA have black fatigue? Somebody type black fatigue in the chat room. Somebody type black fatigues, and I'm not talking about like fatigues like the military wear. I'm talking about black fatigue, okay? And I'm asking that question because a lot has been made about this new Los Angeles Lakers image, a potential starting lineup that visually looks like, you know, it doesn't look like the Lakers I grew up watching. Okay, I grew up in like I said, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and I think back to Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and James Worthy and Byron Scott, and I think Showtime. You know what I'm saying? I think of a franchise that that for generations was not just successful, but culturally connected to Black America. But now when you look at this image, it hits different, okay? A picture is really worth 1,000 words, man. And now let me be clear. I'm not saying these players can't play, okay? I'm not saying Luke, he's elite. Austin Reeves can ball. Walker Kessler, Jake LaRivia, he can ball. I probably butchered that name, but and the others fit what the Lakers are trying to do. I mean, that's not what I'm saying, okay? But the current projections on the roster discussions have centered around the Lakers building Reeves, Luka, and Kessler, and depending on the final roster moves, and that might end up being a starting lineup decision. But the question isn't just about basketball, okay? The question is image. The question is marketing. The question is whether the NBA, after decades of profiting from Black swagger and style and athleticism and culture and cool and Black labor, is it now quietly trying to soften, whiten the little thing up, you know what I'm saying, repackage the face of the league? That's the conversation, okay? Now, for years, people said the NBA was too Black. They didn't always say it out loud, but they did through coded language, and they talked about thug culture. They talked about the tattoos and the dress codes and the hip hop. They talked about the players being a little too outspoken, too political, too rich, too powerful, too influential, too hard to control. And now we're watching a league where the biggest marketing push increasingly involves European stars, international stars, and I would suggest more acceptable faces for a broader global audience. So when people look at this Lakers image, and I'm gonna go ahead and change it back to my regular old face here, but when people look at that Lakers image, they react strongly. They aren't just reacting to five professional basketball players. They're reacting to a cultural shift. And the Lakers were once, Black Hollywood team. They were Magic, they were Kareem, they were Worthy, there was Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, Anthony Davis. They were the place where Black excellence and celebrity entertainment and championship basketball all came together. So when the Lakers are all, when the Lakers of all franchises, I mean, I could, if this was Boston, it might make sense, because I remember Larry Bird, and I don't care what anybody says, Bird is in the top 10 of all time. I don't care what y'all say, man. I know it's some haters out there, but Bird is everybody will tell you Bird was. Even Jordan said Bird was the one on many occasions that would have his ticket. But it looks different, right? And people are going to notice that, and they should notice, because sports is never just sports. The NBA shows exactly what is selling. Okay, all right. It sells faces. It sells stories. It sells fathers and sons. It sells international dreams. It sells redemption. It sells global expansion. And right now, it feels like the league may be entering in a phase where the American-based Black players are still useful, still necessary, still very talented, still dominant, but no longer preferred as the main image of the product. And that's what I mean by Black fatigue. Somebody type Black fatigue in the chat room, okay? Now that the Black players are disappearing, okay, they're still there, okay? I'm not saying they aren't great, but the machine may be tired of Blackness being the dominant culture of the league. It may want the talent without the politics, okay? It wants the swagger. It won't, but it without the culture and the baggage, you see? And the highlights without the Black American identity attached to them. And that's why this Lakers picture matters, because if you grew up watching the Lakers, I watched, this image doesn't just look like a new starting lineup, it looks like a message. Now, this is where the conversation is going to get uncomfortable, all right? When people look at the potential Lakers lineup and start asking whether the NBA has Black fatigue, I understand why they're asking the question. I mean, the image is jarring. It looks different. It feels different. It looks like a cultural shift. But I think the deeper truth is this: the NBA isn't tired of Black talent. Okay, the league still builds championship rosters with Black talent. What the NBA is getting tired of is chaos, and what it's getting tired of is uncertainty. What it's getting tired of is stupidity and immaturity and entitlement and lack of discipline and lack of structure, and the kind of foolishness that turns $1 billion investment into a public relations nightmare. That's the distinction people need to understand. This is not merely about Black fatigue. This is about chaos fatigue. Somebody type chaos fatigue in the chat room. This is about domestic baby mama drama fatigue. This is about social media meltdown fatigue. This is about entourage fatigue. This is about crash out fatigue. This is about, this is the fatigue that comes when owners, executives, and sponsors and networks and shoe companies and global business partners keep seeing the same pattern repeat itself, and finally start responding to those patterns like business people will. At some point, repeated behavior stops being an accident. It becomes a pattern. And once something becomes a pattern, serious people begin making decisions based on that. And that's where this conversation about pattern recognition, okay, matters. Okay? Pattern recognition is not racism. Pattern recognition is not self-hatred. Pattern recognition is what human beings do when they see the same conduct over and over again. If a man is late every time you deal with him, eventually, at some point down the road, you stop calling the traffic. If a friend borrows money 10 times and never pays you back, eventually you stop calling it bad luck, don't you? If a player keeps creating drama and embarrassing the whole organization, ignoring coaching, attracting legal trouble, fighting online, surrounding himself with fools, and making reckless decisions, eventually the franchise stops calling it young and misunderstood and calls it what it is, a risk. And risk costs money. And that's what too many people don't want to face. Billion-dollar organizations don't have the luxury of pretending patterns don't exist. Fans can make excuses. Bloggers and YouTubers can yell racism, but podcasters can scream that people are hating. But the NBA front office has to write those checks, and sponsors have to protect their brands. Networks have to sell family-friendly entertainment. Owners have to protect franchise value. Coaches have to build locker room culture, and general managers have to decide whether a young man is worth millions of dollars and years of organizational investment. So when they see patterns of instability, they adjust. And that's not prejudice. Sometimes that's simply pattern recognition with money attached. Now, can pattern recognition be abused? Of course it can. One incident shouldn't become an indictment for an entire group of people. One foolish player shouldn't define every black athlete. One viral video shouldn't become a racial theory. That's prejudice, and that's also laziness. That's also bigotry, clothed in analysis. But the opposite is also true. When the patterns are real, when they are repeated, when they are visible, when they are documented, when they keep showing up in public behavior, in music, and social media, and legal trouble, whether it's criminal, family law, or whatever. When you keep having locker room issues and public disrespect for accountability, right? And then you start calling it calling everybody racist for noticing the pattern. You see? All that is just another way of protecting dysfunction. And here's the real danger. We have created a culture where a person identifying the problem is treated worse than the person causing the problem. Somebody type coon in the chat room. Somebody type boule in the chat room. You got somebody saying this behavior is destroying us, they get called a sellout. Somebody type sellout in the chat room. The one saying this foolishness is making us all look bad gets called anti-black. The one saying a young man needs discipline, fathers, faith, a structured home, and accountability gets accused of carrying the water for white people. Meanwhile, the people actually embarrassing the culture get defended, they get excused, they get protected and explained away until the whole world starts making decisions based on what we refuse to confront. And that's not love. That's cowardice, man. Because silence isn't protection. Silence is permission. And when we refuse to correct the pattern, we give the pattern room to grow. When we attack the messenger instead of addressing the conduct, we tell the world we care more about image than reality. Shout out to Mike of Malice, Leon. Thank you so much. And the NBA, like every other major business, is watching reality. They see these IG posts. They see these YouTube posts. It's trying to figure out who could be trusted with their billion-dollar investor. It's watching who has discipline. It's watching who has family structure. It's watching who has emotional maturity. It's watching who can handle correction. It's watching who can represent this billion-dollar brand without making an organization hold his breath every time his name trends online. So when people ask whether the NBA has black fatigue, my answer is this. Not exactly. The NBA doesn't have fatigue with black excellence. It doesn't have fatigue with black greatness. It doesn't have fatigue with black discipline and black professionalism and black leadership and black work ethic or black championship culture. The league will take that all day long. What the league is tired of is the version of black culture that tries to sell chaos as authenticity and ignorance as confidence and criminality as masculinity, emotional instability as passion, and accountability as betrayal. That version of the culture is bad for business. And in this new NBA, bad business gets replaced. And that's the cold, hard, ice cold reality that we're dealing with. This league is not sitting around waiting for black American players to get themselves together. This league has options now. Europe is producing professionals. Africa is producing professional athletes. Canada is producing talent. Australia is producing talent. The whole world is producing young men who can play ball and who can be trained early and who can understand structure and who come from systems and who may bring less perceived risks. So if one player brings talent with chaos and another player brings talent with discipline, the business decision becomes simple. This is why this conversation matters. This isn't about hating on our NBA black players. That's not what I'm saying. This is about telling the truth before the market tells it for us. The NBA is not merely drafting vertical leaps and wingspan and scoring ability anymore. It's drafting judgment. It's drafting emotional maturity. It's drafting emotional control. Hell, it's drafting family structure. Did y'all see this recent top 10 draftees? It's making decisions. It's drafting whether a young man has enough faith in his future not to throw it away over pride, women, weed, guns, ignorant friends, social media outbursts, and street approval. So no, I don't think the NBA has black fatigue. I think the NBA has chaos fatigue. And I think it has immaturity fatigue. It has risk fatigue. And if black America is honest, some of that fatigue is not coming from racism. Most of it is coming from repeated patterns we've been too afraid to talk about and too defensive or too politically correct to confront. The NBA is simply doing what every business eventually does, recognizing the pattern, reducing the risk, and putting its money where it believes the structure is. And one of the biggest tricks played on black America is that somewhere along the way, black ghetto culture became confused with black culture itself. That's the problem. Black culture is not criminality. Black culture isn't ignorance. Black culture isn't public disorder. Black culture isn't making a scene in the airport, fighting in the mall, cussing out teachers, celebrating drug dealers, calling every successful black person a sellout or a house Negro or a coon or a boule. Just because they don't sound like they came from the bottom. But somehow, somewhere, A destructive portion of Black ghetto culture has been elevated and imitated and packaged and sold and treated as if it represents authentic Blackness. How did that happen? And see, that's the lie that we have to destroy. And that's why this ties directly into the NBA, because the NBA isn't rejecting Blackness. The NBA has made billions of dollars off of Black brilliance and Black creativity and Black excellence and Black style and Black charisma and Black confidence. The league is not tired of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry or LeBron James or Kevin Durant. It's not tired of Anthony Edwards when he's focused and disciplined and electric and marketable. What the NBA is tired of is the version of Blackness that comes wrapped in chaos, stupidity, criminality, bad judgment, entitlement, and public embarrassment. Nobody wants to be associated with that. Hell, y'all don't even want to be associated with that. The league is tired of the ghetto being sold as the only authentic expression of Black manhood. And that's why pattern recognition matters. When people keep seeing the same public behaviors and the same glorification of criminality, the same refusal to accept accountability, the same music, celebrating death, drugs, street beef, the same social media clips turning degeneracy into entertainment, they eventually stop treating it as isolated. They start recognizing a pattern. And once the pattern is recognized, the business world responds. That's not racism. It's marketing. We've seen this before. We're not paying for that headache. When repeated conduct is observable and documentable and repeatable, it becomes a pattern. And the proper response is to recognize it, not attack the people noticing it. The problem is that too many Black people have been trained to defend the wrong thing. I said it. We defend the hood like it's sacred ground. We defend the struggle like it's some sort of certificate of authenticity. We defend public foolishness as keeping it real. Somebody type keeping it a buck in the chat room. We defend criminality as survival. Let me give you an example. A young man could get pushed and stab another young man in the chest in front of 21 people, a videotape, admit that he did it, and Black people will still jump up and say, oh, no, he's innocent. He was railroaded. Somebody type railroaded. I'm just saying. So when I say we defend criminality as survival, that's what I mean. We defend ignorance as culture. And then we turn around and get offended with corporations and leagues and sponsors and schools and employers, and the rest of society start making decisions based on what we ourselves keep broadcasting. You can't put dysfunction on stage, call it entertainment, reward it with money, then pretend nobody has the right to notice what it produces. This is the part people don't want to hear. Other groups have poverty too. Shout out to all the poor Asians and poor whites and poor. Do you know how poor white people are in some parts of this country? They have criminals too. White people have a horrible drug addiction problem. Some of them on this broadcast, snorting some meth right now. Shout out to all the meth heads in the chat room. Methany, Matthew, welcome to the broadcast. They got broken family hair. Our vice president comes from a drug addicted, broken family in a horrible neighborhood in social dysfunction. But see, here's the thing. they don't always make the poorest, most chaotic, most criminal, and most dysfunctional elements the face of their entire group. Poor white America, again, has a serious drug problem. Poor Asian communities exist. Poor immigrant communities exist. But their successful people aren't usually required to perform poverty to prove authenticity, are they? Their celebrities aren't usually forced to constantly remind everybody that they came from the worst place possible. But in Black America, too often, the person who speaks well, the person who marries, the person who builds wealth, raises children, who avoids the streets and acts professional, is treated like he's less than Black. More so than the person who glorifies the bottom. And that's cultural suicide, family. Because once struggle becomes the standard of authenticity, success becomes suspicious. That's why y'all don't like Jay-Z. Right? Tell the truth. Shame the devil. Right? He's suspicious. Somebody type boule in the chat room. Somebody type sold out in the chat room. Huh? That's what you said. Am I lying? Once you get past a certain threshold of wealth, you automatically become suspicious in the Black community. And see, once ghetto behavior becomes a proof of real Blackness, discipline becomes acting white. Education becomes selling out. Marriage becomes respectability politics. Business ownership becomes capitalism. And accountability becomes hating on your own people. That's how a community psychologically traps itself at the bottom and then gets angry when the world treats the bottom like that's your brand. And this is exactly what happened with music and media. Where's the lie? Do we need to go over this in public? Do I need to remind you all? Huh? Y'all say hip hop didn't create the ghetto. I don't care what you say. Y'all say hip hop created the ghetto? So you telling me we wasn't acting in ghetto and doing all that crazy shooting and killing and whatnot before hip hop? Hip hop popped up in 1980, got hot around about the 1985 or so. But let me tell you what hip hop did do. It packaged it. It turned local street values into national entertainment. It took neighborhood dysfunction. It took in-house dysfunction and put it on a beat. And y'all been dancing to it. And then social media took it even further. It took it worldwide. And reality TV, that reality television, fight clips, viral disrespect, drill rap, public brawls, performative ignorance. It turned destruction into content. And street culture became profitable. Then social media turned the volume up to 10, projecting those values into mainstream Black American culture everywhere. And now the NBA has to evaluate young men who grew up inside that cultural noise. That's the point. The league isn't just asking whether a player can score. It's asking what kind of cultural operating system is running inside that young man's head. Does he believe discipline is corny? Does he believe the street is more authentic than the boardroom? Does he believe loyalty to bad friends matters more than loyalty to his future? Does he believe being coached is being controlled? Does he believe crashing out proves manhood? Does he believe a gun a gold chain and a fine woman and an expensive car or a social media post is worth more than a second contract. And that's why the NBA is searching the world, because the league is looking for talent without the cultural headache. It wants athletic ability without the crash out mentality. Somebody type crash out mentality. It wants charisma without criminality. It wants confidence without ignorance. It wants that edge without stupidity. It wants young men who understand that professionalism isn't weakness, and it wants players who know that structure isn't oppression. It wants players who can be coached, corrected, marketed, trusted, and developed. And if the league can find that in Europe, Africa, Canada, Australia, or anywhere else, Mars, Pluto, the back of the moon, that's where the money's going. And we better stop pretending that this is just anti-blackness or racism. It isn't anti-black. It's not race. You see? I mean, when is it anti-black to say the hood isn't the definition of blackness? It isn't anti-black to say that criminality is not our culture. It's not anti-black to say public disorder is embarrassing. And it's certainly not anti-black to say this drill rap has helped turn real murders into marketing campaigns. Look, man. When it become racist to say defending obvious wrongdoing simply because the wrongdoer is black is a moral weakness. We have to create a culture where loyalty to race too often matters. That's what we've done. The loyalty to the race is more, it often matters more than loyalty to the truth and accuracy. We have a situation where black people will protect bad behavior simply because the person is black. That's why I'm not pro-black, because I can't get behind that. That shows a lack of integrity. I'm not going to do that tribalism, because whatever you put out there is going to come back on you. You keep defending them thugs and lowlifes, and you're going to end up getting carjacked and shot by one. Somebody type bootleg in the chat room. Somebody type coon in the chat room. Somebody type, what's the other one? Bougie, sell out. Get all them words in there. I want to hear that. That lets me know you hear me. As long as you screaming like that, that's how you sound to me. Bootleg. Like a baby screaming. But all that has to end. Standing with black people can't mean standing with foolishness. Loving black people can't mean lying for criminals either. And protecting black culture can't mean protecting the worst behavior attached to it. If a black person is wrong, he's wrong and she's wrong. If a black person is immature, he's immature. Call it like you see it. If a black entertainer is poisoning children with death music, while my scamming it's poisoning the children. If a black athlete has surrounded himself by parasites and yes men and baby mama drama and street beef and weapons and social media chaos, then a $1 billion organization has every right to see that as a risk. Somebody type sellout in the chat room, because I'm saying it. Somebody type bootleg. And this is where the black fatigue discussion sharpens in the NBA argument. The fatigue isn't with black excellence. The fatigue is with black behavior being defended as blackness, as though they are one and the same. The fatigue is with the bottom being treated like the standard. The fatigue is with the successful being fake and boule and sellouts, and the dysfunctional people who call them sellouts being authentic or being called real. The fatigue is with a culture that praises the struggle, but resents the success after the struggle. That's crazy, man. And until we separate blackness from ghetto pathology and dysfunction, the market will do it for us brutally, quietly, and without asking permission. So no, again, I don't believe the NBA has black fatigue in the simple racial sense. The NBA doesn't have fatigue with disciplined black men. It doesn't have fatigue with married black men who ain't out there cheating and carrying on. Don't cheat on your wives and girlfriends. Don't do it for them, do it for you. Show some discipline. Show some respect for yourself. The NBA and nobody else has fatigue with black fathers, black work ethic, black leadership, black intelligence, and black marketability or black greatness. The NBA has fatigue with chaos. America has fatigue with chaos, dressed up as black culture. It has fatigue with ghetto authenticity being treated like a business asset when it's really a business liability. And the sooner Black America admits that, the better we will be. Because the way forward isn't to embrace the bottom just to feel safe from failure. The way forward is to aim higher. Success is not white. Education is not white. Marriage is not white. Stability is not white. Professionalism, decorum, respect is not white. Wealth is not white. Discipline is not white. Those things are just success, and they have no color. And black people have to we've been there before. And we need to do that again. We can't build anything, including ourselves, lasting if we keep confusing black culture with the very behaviors destroying black people. Now, I have a few videos I'd like to share with you all and give a little commentary. I found some things to be very interesting regarding this subject. And it's not just about the NBA. It's about the direction that America and corporations are taking. 400,000 black women got fired. You think that was just because what? Why you think that was? Huh? Bunch of white dudes getting drafted in the NBA. What you think is going on? Huh? Well, anyway, y'all with me? Let's look at a few videos. Let's see. I hope y'all mad. Are y'all mad yet? Be mad. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. And you can't make me stop. I just want you to show me where I'm wrong at. Now, y'all know, what's this cat's name? Stephen A. Smith. Listen to Stephen. Listen to the old Q-Dog talk. Shout out to the old Q-Dog. Check this out. Well, actually, I'm going to let this play. And you guys check it out.
You play 4 white boys, you ain't gonna beat nobody. I want to know what team has been successful with that many on one roster.
The
Celtics back in the day?
When?
with Darren Williams.
Give me 6 white boys they had on their team.
They had
Bet they
Carol Lingo, they had Matt Harper, they had
I'm gonna just point out, and I do this too. You know, like, okay, I get it. It's an oddity, but you know, when you say, hey, you got 6 of them on one team, what we talking about? That's the equivalent of a you people. You see what I mean? It's kind of stereotypical because I remember, what's it, Jason Williams? Y'all remember that white dude, Jason Williams? I mean, he was hood as the front of a car. He would ball, though. You guys remember Jason Williams from back in the day with all the tattoos? He could ball and he could pass. Okay? You get him, a Larry Bird, give me some other name. You get a Luke out there. They'll run you down on that court. Hell, get you some of them Mormons. You know who can ball them Mormons? The little dudes with the bikes and the little black pants and the white shirt. They'll beat you in the church shirt. The Mormons will wear you out in a church shirt. Do you hear me? Shout out to the Mormons coming down from Utah on their little bicycles. You know what I'm saying? And they see a basketball court, they will tear you up. They got free throws, slam dunks, outside perimeter. They got a mean defense game. They will back you down in the paint, turn around and dunk over you. Shout out, the Mormons can ball. Do you hear me? But anyway, we're gonna let this. So yeah, it depends on the white fellas you get.
They had
they were really good.
That played, yeah.
They were really good.
Boston Celtics.
I had to come.
Oh no! I'm just tripping.
I had to come to somebody. No. Larry Bird and
Yeah.
No,
Negro tendencies.
John
Danny
Stockton.
Ainge, sewer rat. He out here biting people and shit under. Yes,
But
he don't count.
high grade Caucasian though.
Bill Walton, a hippie. Kevin McHale probably would have been your closest.
Man, Kevin McHale was he would light you up, man. John Stockton, oh man, yeah. So you can't just say just because of it. I mean, hell, I don't. Let me let these dudes.
The point I'm making is Luka don't play no D if he is healthy. That's a problem. Healthy or not, that's an issue on that side of the ball. But him scoring 35 would help. But if he's limited, good luck. Austin Reeves, your number 2. You're going to need him to score 24, 25, 26 to beat anybody. Luke Kennard, damn, can't guard this goddamn coffee cup.
Yeah, I like him though.
He can shoot that though. And then you're playing Jake.
From All State.
Jake LaRobbie has Negro tendencies.
You ain't going to beat nobody.
Embrace.
Listen, we're not fully cooked, but the barbecue grill is on. The chef got his shit on. The meat is all laid out, right? They put the coals in, and they put the gas on, right? You know, he's just asking for the matches.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not just about talent, it's about markability. Some of these brands don't want to be associated with some of these people who have all these issues, and it makes sense to me. I mean, doesn't it make sense to you? You want somebody with bringing a whole bunch of trouble to your organizations?
Down there in LA, but the Lakers got a team full of white boys. This is how the NBA looked back in 1950 and shit. This is how the NBA look right here. This is like the Wisconsin basketball team now. A team full of white boys. Niggas is finna run all over the.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Watch the potty mouth, man. Look, dude, he is too excited. I hope they win. I'm serious. I hope they win. I do. I hope they come run the whole. Boy, I hope they take the whole West, go straight to the NBA championship. Just beat all y'all. Just whoop everybody. I hope they do. I hope they whoop the Atlanta Hawks, Philly, and Atlanta. I hope they do. I hope these white gentlemen whoop y'all good. I hope they do. All you bad. I hope. Okay, I bet Donald Trump will be at each and every game. I hope they win. I hope they beat all of y'all. Teach y'all a lesson about stereotyping them. They're gonna come in there with mathematics and engineering plans, and they're just gonna run the table on y'all. Every one of y'all. Out hooping, shooting, free throws are gonna be perfect. Outside perimeter, they're gonna be passing the ball, none of that fancy stuff. Shout out to Cameron Fox. I'm having too much fun. Let's keep
These niggas, let's look at this potential starting lineup right here. What the hell? Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Jake LaRavia, Sandro Makamalishalili. What the hell? Walker Kessler. This is a team full of white boys, man. Bronny James, you might as well just sit on, just go to the G League and chill, bro, or just get waived or something, bro. Because they ain't gonna let you play on this white boy team right here, nigga.
Why you a white boy like that, sir? Why these are adults? It's not referred to these gentlemen as white boys. These are grown men, sir. Show some respect for their age. You're stripping away their masculinity. But anyway, let's look at some more videos, man. Let me see here, man. But yeah, I mean that's marketable, man. They're gonna sell a lot of jerseys and a lot of t-shirts. I mean, think about it. They're gonna sell a lot of jerseys and a lot of t-shirts. I can't see why they wouldn't. But let's go ahead and look at actually, you know what? There's another aspect that I want to talk about. The NBA draft. There was a big to-do about the NBA draft, and I'm gonna let y'all check some of these video clips out because I found it very interesting. Check this out.
It's something that shouldn't be controversial, but might be controversial. But after watching last night's draft and seeing the top picks, say the top 10 picks, 7 of them, 8 of them, they came from 2-parent homes, but not just 2-parent homes, the dads. The dads, you could see, they took a proactive, very active role in their son's development.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, man. I know we're not supposed to say it. Okay. I know that. But moms and dads are different. Okay. Just like men and women are different. Okay. That's not really my opinion. That's biology. Okay. And so dad's approach to a child is going to be different than mom's approach to a child. I'm not saying that one is better. I'm not saying one is worse. However, I can speak for my own self when I say that I don't care about them kids' feelings like that. And if it's something we have to do, we're going to do it. If that means you got to run around the cul-de-sac 20 times at 7 o'clock in the morning while I sit on the front porch and drink my coffee, fine. If that means that you have to make 200 shots in the neighbor's basketball court early in the morning, bouncing your ball and waking up the community just so I can make sure I don't have to keep paying $65 every session for the basketball instructor, fine. Okay. I don't feel sorry for you. Your mama might want to make sure you have some water and some clean clothes and have brushed your teeth. I don't really care. Same thing goes if you a child, you my little child, and the next door neighbor put you in a headlock and you came home crying to me. I say, okay, that's it. And then I have you enrolled in Kung Fu and Shotokan and Jiu-Jitsu and doing push-ups every day, sometimes going to 3, because I want to fix the problem. I want to make sure you don't get put in a headlock anymore by the next door neighbor. Matter of fact, I want to make sure nobody puts you in a headlock, and I'm not going to feel sorry for you. Your mama might say, that's a lot for them kids, but I might not. And I'm not talking about me or my personal experience or anything. I would never put my own personal business out there about my children, 1, 2, and 3 of them. But I'm just saying hypothetically, when it comes down to structure and discipline, dads are equipped for it. It's just something we do. Okay, so if you have a whole bunch of young men who have the talent to go to an NBA roster, and you find out that the top 10 draft choices are young men with fathers, that might tell you something. Okay, maybe those men felt the same way that I described in that hypothetical, never happened before situation that I just described. Because dads are different, and your dad is like a secret weapon. Your dad is gonna make you better. He don't care about your feelings, whether we talking about a Steph Curry's daddy or a Joe Jackson. Somebody type Joe Jackson of the year. You understand what I'm saying? Whether we talk about Michael Jordan's daddy or any one of these other famous players, LeVar Ball, all of y'all going to the NBA. That is not statistically possible, but it happened. Okay, but either way, somebody type dad is a superpower.
And I want to be very clear here before you guys come at me in the comments. Not saying you can't make it in life being a product of a single mother. No, you absolutely can.
And nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying you can't make it, but there's going to be some residue. Okay? There's going to be some residue associated with that single mother upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Residue. You understand? Like the stuff on the inside of the pot when your great uncle used to cook up the crack in the house. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. It's gonna be residue leftover. Okay, it's gonna be some left. There's gonna be evidence is gonna be there that you were raised by a single mother, and oftentimes that has to do with dysfunction, and that's what these NBA teams are saying. We don't want that residue from that single mother chaos that you came up in. That's that survivor mentality that you were dealing with. Okay. Because it's a bad business investment. We dealt with it when we had to, but now we have better options. We looking worldwide. We have these young men here who look like they're going to be a great investment. They had fathers in their life. They're used to instruction. They can take instruction. See that? There you go. It's a money decision.
The world is littered with people who are highly successful. But it was just, for me, it was great to see so many young brothers getting drafted and then having their dads in attendance, having their dads sit next to them while they're being interviewed. And I personally believe it's just a cheat code.
It is.
Having two parents, but especially having a father in your life, it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
So fathers out there, men out there, like, and this isn't just about sports, but damn it, stop devaluing your importance. Stop underestimating the role you play in your child's success.
Yeah.
We matter, and we need to start showing up like we matter. It's great to see last night.
It is evident. Yeah, it's very evident that it matters. And, you know, a lot of those men weren't actually married to the moms. I think 3 of them weren't married, but they were heavily involved in their son's life. And that's what paid off. Let's look at some more videos.
With the 45th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, the Sacramento Kings select Emmanuel.
Daddy's sitting right next to him with his hand. Yep, we going to the league. Gonna be courtside. Somebody type courtside in the chat room. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. It's not just black dads. It's all dads matter. Somebody type all dads matter in the chat room. It's not just black dads. Some white boys out there, you'll be shocked. See, there's so many stereotypes going on around the world. Well, here in America, there's just assumptions that, oh, I didn't have a dad, blah, blah, blah. But when you hear that, you know, that's a common story in the black community, but I hear it all the time from white dudes and Hispanic dudes. Okay, I hear it all the time. It's a stereotype. But some of these white dudes is looking at this video right now will tell you that their dad walked out on them or their granddad walked out on their grandma when their dad was young, and you know, maybe mom got remarried or something, or they got raised by an auntie. You might not ever know it, but again, they don't put the lowest part of their culture on display. They don't have a whole bunch of single mother raised boys speaking for them as though this is the common occurrence. I mean, let's think about it. The vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance, was basically raised by a single mother a drug addict, and his grandmother. Okay, but that's not something that we throw out there. It's unheard of. But he's not the only one. All dads matter. But in this particular case, all these young men had their dads, and look what they did. He hugging his daddy. He said, "Dad, that's how you know." Now, 20 years ago, that'd be a single mama next to him with the jersey on. She'll be jumping in front of the camera. But see, it's a difference. Dad. Okay, cool. Shout out to Dad. Yeah, look at that. It might have been a single mother and a coach. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, we got some more. So again, dads matter. Now I'm gonna show this video right here, man. I really want you guys to give a big shout out to this brother. Somebody type medium man in the chat room. Medium man.
Well, coach.
Now hold on. Let me give a run up. Medium man. This is Medium Man right here. Medium Man is a very popular YouTuber, and I really like his work. He's a numbers guy. He always comes back with the stats. I don't necessarily promote many people's channel, but if you have joined my channel and you like the type of hardcore, straightforward, no nonsense delivery, you should go check out this brother. Now I'm gonna say something. I don't want to be mad at him, but he shouldn't call himself Medium Man because he's very swollen. He's buffed. Okay, he should be like maybe not extra large man, but at least large man. Okay, but that's what he calls himself, Medium Man. Y'all type Medium Man in the chat room. He gives a great breakdown of the NBA draft. And I really just like that he's talking about active dads. So you guys check out Medium Man. Go over his channel. Tell him Uncle D sent you. Tell him you got all the numbers. You know, I just sit on here and talk loud and scream at the internet for 2 or 3 hours. But this brother is really, really good. whatever color you are, whatever, he's good with the numbers. I like what he has to say. And you know, he gives it to you, gives straight facts. But y'all go check him out. Somebody type Media Man in the chat room, and we're gonna check out this video from Media Man.
Basketball coach. He's starting to notice that with the black family, it used to be the athlete and the single mom trying to, you know, find a way to get out the hood, so to speak. But he said now, 2-parent households, dad present, black dad present. And he said it makes it tougher to negotiate contracts because the dad is there.
Be upfront with these parents. And things changed today. 30 years ago, I was dealing with the black mamas.
You know? You heard him? 30 years ago, I was dealing with the black mamas. Dad coming in like, we got money. We appreciate this NBA money, but it's a job. You want my son? Cool. Let's talk. You see, but as opposed to when a woman and a son, they're struggling trying to survive. They're struggling trying to survive. They'll take anything. Invariably, when you are a married couple, when there's two people bringing money into one household, there's going to be more money. There's going to be more time. There's going to be more resources you can pour into your children. You see? So again, entering into the NBA or entering into professional sports is the NBA is a full-time, it's a whole different skill set. Basketball in general is. So everybody can't do it. You can't just put them on there and see how fast you can run. We're going to turn you into a receiver. Okay? Not that doesn't take skills, but listen to what this man has to say.
Look at the daddies now. Mm-hmm. Most of these kids come from 2-parent families. My dad coached all his career in segregation. Mm-hmm. You know, you didn't have a lot of help. Mm-hmm. Now it was the mamas with 4 babies or 4 kids struggling to pay rent, and the AAU coach grabbed the kid and made all the decisions. Mm-hmm. You know, some of it was to his benefit. Mm-hmm. But now the black fathers are heavily involved, and the black mother, and they're successful.
Now that was the University of Houston head basketball coach. But let's let Media Man go ahead and proceed forward.
That's why you've seen an influx of new millionaires. Black men are becoming millionaires in high school. Y'all know that? NIL deals. They already making money. So that's why I told you guys black men are on an upward trajectory. It's different now. I told y'all. It's everything that I've been telling you guys about black men and black fathers being present.
A few days ago.
Now look, I'm absolutely certain that there are talented young men who are raised in single mother homes or raised in foster homes or whatever. But you see who the NBA wanted to invest their money in? For you all who don't understand how it works, if you, depending on your draft pick location, if you're in the top 10, you're just going to get it. I mean, you're going to get a certain amount of money. I mean, as opposed to if you're in the bottom 10. The bottom 10, maybe you might end up in the G League. You're going to be playing in Long Beach somewhere. Okay, you're going to be playing in Wisconsin. That's where you're going to be out there in Wisconsin in the G League. Okay, but if you're in the top 10, you're guaranteed money. That means the business, the NBA as a business, is banking on you. And so look who they invested in. Men with, I mean, do you think this all happened by happenstance? The top 10 picks came from 2-parent households or heavily influenced family structures involving the father. Just think about that. Let's keep pushing.
A basketball fan pointed out something interesting. Looking at the top 10 picks in the 2026 NBA draft, he noticed that each player either came from a 2-parent household or had a father who was visibly present and actively involved on draft night.
All that, being from the hood, growing up, single mother, getting it out the trenches and getting to the NBA, it's over with. The top 10 draft picks this year, if you've seen the round table, 2-parent households or the father is very, very engaged in that man's career.
None of this means there aren't children growing up without fathers. And none of this takes anything away from the sacrifices made by single mothers. But it does challenge the idea that black fatherhood is defined primarily by absence. In fact, I've been covering this topic for years because the evidence has been remarkably consistent. There's no point over the last several decades where the majority of black fathers have been shown to be absent from their children's lives.
I was so happy that this, the coach of Houston University said this, because it just confirms everything that I've been telling you guys.
Yeah. So that's just that. I mean, that's just more evidence. I mean, clearly that didn't happen by happenstance. Clearly, they did a full. If somebody's going to make a multi-million-dollar investment in you, they're going to do a full time investment. A full background on who you are and what you about. All right, let's keep listening.
All that, being from the hood, grown up, single mother.
Mm-hmm. Go to the next video. You guys, if you're enjoying the broadcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I certainly would appreciate a like, a share, and a subscribe. If you haven't already, please go ahead and do that now. I would appreciate if you would do that now. Okay? Let's keep listening to some more of these very interesting takes on this new phenomenon.
What I'm noticing about this NBA draft, it's a whole bunch of damn daddies there, and I ain't seen no baby mamas. The players done figured it out.
Oh yeah, dad has already schooled you on, nah, you ain't gonna be around here messing with these little hot tail young girls. You gonna stay up in here. You see what I'm saying? You gonna be up in here, you gonna be quiet, you gonna mind your business. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna leave these hot tail girls alone. And the mamas aren't going for it either. Okay? So that's cool. That is the difference between. That's your value system. You see, that's those values. You're worth more than that. Okay, and that's what I tell my sons. I say, you don't pimp yourself out just because you don't do that. Allow yourself to be used like that for you for your status and your man seed. Make it work for it, son. Make it work for it. You care more about yourself. You're doing her a favor. Okay, you come from a great family. You have a lot to offer. And you will be an attribute to any woman and the family that she brings you into. And so you need to value yourself. Okay. But anyway, let's move on to the next video and keep looking. Shout out to Singer Slinger. Thank you so much, Singer Slinger. That's a very cool name. Let's go on to the next video. And we're talking about black fatigue. Is it black fatigue or is it black chaos? Because look, to me, all these people that were brought in they were black. Okay, and some people might say, "Oh, well,
wanted to be announced tonight as the #1 pick by the name, your formal name that you share with your father, Anise.
Yeah.
Why did you want to do that?
I mean, everything I do is for him. And this name he gave me is really his name because he's senior. So I also want to honor him this day too.
Did you guys?
Everything I do is for him. That's what that young man said about his daddy. Everything I do is for him. Beautiful. Now, 20 years ago, it'd have been, I love my mama. My mama was there for me. It was 7 of us in the project. We was eating grilled cheese sandwiches every night. She worked 7 jobs, man. All my brothers, I had to take care of that. Not tonight. Tonight is everything. I'm a junior. I'm technically the 3rd. And my daddy's been there the whole time, so I want to use my real name instead of my nickname. Big shout out to my daddy. That's cool, man. That's a beautiful thing.
You guys ever think that it would lead to this, the #2 pick in the NBA draft?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't, but my pops always knew. And once I got older, I started to believe it as well. But all of it paid off.
And Mr. Darrell, what does it mean to you that throughout his career, he's chosen to wear the number 22 in honor of you?
It means a lot. That was my number. It shows how much he believes and respects me as a dad, and he just embraced it.
You had.
So dad was apparently an NBA player. That situation. Let's keep listening.
Kingston and his sister Bella, who's also a star hooper. You had them write out goals. Just tell me, why did you think that was so important as you see him sitting here now as an NBA first-round draft pick?
I mean, ultimately, it was never about what I wanted, and I think our job.
It was about what you wanted, Dad. Don't lie. You put it on their mind, but go ahead. You keep on telling us that.
Our job as parents is to just guide our kids on how to achieve their goals.
You guided them right into the NBA, Dad. You courtside. Somebody type courtside in the chat room. Birds 513. Thank you so much.
Instead of placing our thought process on them and what we want for them, so they write down their goals, and then our job is to just keep pushing them towards that.
I got a great supporting cast. Great parents.
I think when you're a father, what you start to realize is the moment that your kid or you have your kids that are born, You realize it's no longer about you. And it's everybody that's in the house. It's about them first. Then it comes back to you. And I think
I'm gonna tell y'all now. When I give my speech, my boy get drafted into the NBA, I'm be like, look, first of all, I like everybody to thank me. Okay, it was me that put this plan together. It was me that put it together, not nobody else. Nobody. His mama didn't have nothing to do with it. She had me in child support court for years, trying to keep this boy from his dream. It was me. I put all this together, man. It was my money, my thoughts. I found the coaches. I put them in the AAU. It was me, all me. Me. I'm gonna need them courtside tickets. I'm gonna go hang out at the owners convention in 3 or 4 weeks. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna come through with my blue gaiters on because I'm feeling myself. It's gonna be me. I ain't gonna lie to him. I did it. He know I did it. Everybody know I did it. Okay? That's how I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna hold back. Trying to be demure. Somebody type demure in the chat room. Mindful. Demure. Hell no. I did it. Me. First NBA player in the whole family. I did that. I did it on him. Boy, you going to the NBA. You too goddamn tall not to be going to the goddamn NBA. You gonna be out there. I don't care if you play for the Rockets. Man, hell, you can go play in Toronto. I don't give a damn. Long as you in the NBA, too tall, your shoes too big, boy. You're 10 years old, you wear a size 14 shoe. Okay? You need to go to the NBA. Somebody else need to pay for that. All right? That's the conversation. To get your big ass out there and start shooting them hoops. Early in the morning, I'm sitting here and drink my coffee, check my text messages. That's what me. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with these dudes. They are not keeping it a buck for me. See, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just telling you the truth. Y'all want me to lie? I know me. That's why I found your mom in the first place. She was tall as hell. I said, I'll give me an NBA player out of that one. The mother one, the mama short, she from Louisiana. They ain't even linebacker size. They gonna be a doctor and a lawyer. That's cool. But this one, he going to the NBA. Now my current wife, she Dominican. She short, little black and brown Latina lady. So they gonna be like smart. You understand what I'm saying? That she cute and everything, but they ain't gonna be able to shoot no hoops. Okay, they're gonna be like little smart, little engineers or something like that. Okay, but I know I got an NBA player in the house somewhere. He around here somewhere. I'm gonna bring him down here if I see him. I'm gonna bring him down here. But anyway, y'all see what I'm talking about. He about 5'8" at 10 years old. He's 168 pounds. He going to the NBA. Anyway, I'm sorry. Did I scare y'all? Sorry about my new people who are here. I'll go back to being demure and calm. That's exciting to me. Anyway.
that's what make men men. The ability to make sacrifice and put others before them for the greater good.
Yes, all that.
Absolutely.
All that. Yeah, now y'all know that cat right there. That's cat right there. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So it's daddies, a bunch of daddies. Daddies everywhere. Daddy. That's dope. I like that, man. I like all that. Okay. Now, there's another just generally speaking about dads in general, because it wasn't let me say it like this. Listen to this and we'll keep it pushing.
Yeah, being a former Black number one pick like LeBron, hearing your son's name called in the NBA draft, what was that moment like for you?
It was the best feeling ever. It was better than my draft. Because I didn't dream of wanting to play in the NBA as a kid. I don't have that, like, my childhood dream came true. Mm-hmm. This was KJ's childhood dream. I'm going to play in the NBA like this.
He want to be like his daddy. That's why it was his childhood dream. Sierra Canyon, that's a cool school out in California. Hey, it is what it is.
This is what I want to do. I want to be like him. To have your child, want to be like you and then for it to happen, it's a picture of me and KJ with our foreheads together. I'm like, dude, this is it, man. This is what you've been working.
Yeah, now my oldest son want to be like me. He wants to be a lawyer. And I'm like, okay, you go to law school. Okay, and that's cool. That's respectful. Go to law school, be a lawyer, be like daddy. Don't be exactly like daddy. I don't want you to run your clients off. It's going to be a different time. My oldest son is an engineering student. And I said, well, maybe, son, you should think about construction law, and some of you all they have construction law. Yeah. Somebody type change order in the chat room. All my guys in construction, they hate change orders. Somebody type, if you know anything about the construction business, a change, you halfway, I don't want to put a wall over here and take this wall down, put a window over here. We change order. All right. So that costs a lot of money. Okay. And so I said, well, yeah, you can be a lawyer. It's something you can do. It's very, beautiful. Right. And thank you for that luxury that we have that opportunity. We don't just have to break our bones and run up and down the field and run our knees out and tap our ankles and whatnot. But bottom line, let's keep it pushing.
Working for him. And I told him, go show him. And I'm pretty sure LeBron is telling Bronny the same thing.
Yep.
All the criticism that's out there.
Yeah.
Go show him.
Go show him. Go show him. You can show him, man. Go show him. So you got a dad who's an NBA, former NBA player. His son wants to be like him. And, that's how it went down. It went down just like that. So he wants to be like his daddy. He didn't get it out the mud. He out the mud. We live in a mansion. We been rich. Somebody type been rich in the chat room. We been rich. Been on this. Okay. Let's look at some more videos.
Has been about black fathers.
I like to paint it in a negative light, but I think black fathers standing up with their sons or standing up with their daughters and being there and showing up, shining light on the positive impact so that we can inspire the next generation of fathers.
There's the age-old stereotype that we're not present.
I just want you to look and see how well behaved these young men are. They're not talking all over the conversation. They're sitting back, letting their dad speak. They're not jumping in. They're not shifting around in their seat. Even the way in which they dress, and they carry themselves. You can literally tell a young man who's been raised by a involved, disciplined father in their relationship. And so again, this is what the NBA is looking for. This is what corporations are looking for. And again, they don't have black fatigue per se, but they do have a problem with chaos. Chaos is not good for business because chaos creates instability, and you need stability for business. Any business.
I'm a present black father, and I want them to see that.
Tough love with your son in basketball?
Always. I always told him, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way. There's not going to be any shortcuts or anything. So I was always tough on him, for sure.
How'd you guys build this? You didn't take a blueprint.
You just learn. Trust yourself, trust God, ask questions, surround yourself with people that you can trust.
Like THERE, be there. I'm there every step of the way.
I just think he's a supporter of that. He's been there for me.
Everything. Without him, I wouldn't be who I am today. Not even as a basketball player, just as a person.
Nothing.
And look, they still got the swagger. They still have the swagger, but without the chaos. They have the swagger without the street stuff. Because dad has been there. Dads provide structure and discipline. You see, and so they get everything the NBA and gets everything they want without the liability.
He's given, you gotta earn it. And believe in God, always. I should have said that first.
Yeah. Again, and I'm gonna say this again, it's not that they have black fatigue, it is that they're tired of that chaos that gets brought in with the ghetto culture. Okay, that has become synonymous with blackness, and that's not cool. But let's keep pushing.
In the NBA draft on Father's Day, not after Father's Day, because it used to be that the NBA draft was the showcase of single parent families, the daddies who weren't there, and they left college early to support their family because their single mom had worked multiple jobs and they didn't know their dad. Like, that used to be the go-to story coming out of NBA drafts. Now, the go-to story in the NBA draft is how much my dad and mom, and especially my dad, supported me and pushed me. It was there for me and wanted more for me than I wanted for myself. And yes, I am talking about black fathers.
Black fathers. You hear that? You hear that? Those two words, you would thought they were alien to each other. If you listen to some of the news broadcasts, you listen to some of the news. But yeah, that's cool, man. I like that, man. And I'm glad. But again, it's not just about black fathers. All fathers matter. America would be a lot better off if we had a lot more involved fathers in the relationships with their children. Let's keep listening.
Tell when a dude don't got a daddy at home. They're like, why? You're like, because when somebody yell at them or tell them to do something, they get mad or be ready to fight or act like weird. You like me, I just be like, all right, because I'm used to my daddy telling me, you know, or being mean or like whatever. They're used to getting either criticism, constructive criticism, being redirected or being led.
Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually let this video. I'm gonna save this video. I have some special guests coming in here. I have some special guests coming in here. I want you to listen to what this young man has to say, okay? And I'm gonna introduce you all to some individuals that you may or may not know, okay? These individuals are not, don't confuse them with me, okay? Because I'm clearly more handsome than all of them, okay? But they do look a little like me, okay? So I'm gonna let them come in and I wanna examine this video together. Sir, can we see everybody? Everybody, these individuals, as I say, they're not quite as handsome as I am, okay? And they look a little dusty. Shout out to you all looking dusty. I need y'all to ease on in here. I want y'all to check this video out. I want to introduce my oldest son, Dennis, and this is Roman, and this young man behind me is Elijah. And wave to all the people. Look at them. So I'm having a conversation about, does the NBA have black fatigue? Okay. Does the NBA have black fatigue? Okay. Now we're having a serious conversation about black fatigue, and I said it's not black fatigue. They have a problem with chaos. Okay. They have a problem. Have you seen the new NBA roster for the LA Lakers? I want you to see the LA Lakers. This is the LA Lakers right here. Y'all know who the Los Angeles Lakers are? That's the new roster for the Lakers. See that right there? What do you see that these gentlemen have in common right there? Just you know, first impression. What do you see there? Huh? What do you mean? No, they all have the same color on. That's what I see. That's what I see, that they all have the same color on. But yes, you're absolutely correct, youngest son. They all are white. They're all white. And that is that something common that I mean, I know y'all are small, young people, but did you know that the NBA for a minute is just a bunch of black dudes run up? Do you know who Scottie Pippen is? You know who Allen Iverson is? You do know who that is? You know a lot. He listened to gangster rap from the 90s. I don't know where we got him from. He be out there listening to 50 Cent. Many men. I'm like, sir, that is before your time. But anyway, I want to share this video with you. Okay, and check this out. I want you to share this video with you, and then we're gonna relate it. Now, these are my sons, the two oldest. But come on, slide your little. Y'all look like three little pecan pies. Slide on in here. Slide on in. Make yourself small, not tall. Make yourself small, not tall. Now, we're gonna look at this video, and you all tell me what you think. Okay, I want your opinion, your honest opinion. Come on, lean in to the microphone. Y'all gonna have to come up to the mic. Put that. Don't make me act like Joe Jackson with you, little light-skinned boy. You want the Joe Jackson? Huh? You don't even know who Joe Jackson is. All right. Well, let's keep listening. Listen to this.
A dude don't got a daddy at home. They're like, why? You're like, because when somebody yell at them or tell them to do something, they get mad or be ready to fight or act like weird. You like me, I just be like, all right, because I'm used to my daddy telling me, you know, or being mean or like whatever. They're used to getting either criticism, constructive criticism, being redirected or being led effectively. Like when you can just tell when a dude has a dad in the house or they move different. They more, like you said, stoic, a little bit quieter. They think more. They like, it's more like a snake vibe. Like, I can get him attacking better from this angle. Like versus just, nigga, I be like, you act like a woman, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you got a little bit too much emotion there, bro. Dudes just move differently, right? So I do understand, like with the submission part and all of that, and adding all that. I can kind of, I think men stand away is always, like you said, it's been a women's sport. Church is a women's sport, and then the way that they cater to the pastor, it makes some other men jealous, and it's just a lot. Sons are.
Okay. All right. So this gentleman is basically saying that he can tell that there's a different tall boy. Get down lower. Come down here. Okay. There you go. That's much better. Now we can look at you. Now, you gentlemen, I'm gonna talk to these gentlemen over here. Now, remember when you guys were in a competition, I believe we were here in Houston across town. And I think it was a full fighting competition, MMA, which mixed martial arts. And just so they can know, Dennis, you can speak for yourself, sir. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hold you up. I know you have things. Can you introduce yourself and let us know some of your martial arts experience, please? Okay.
My name's Dennis, and the martial arts experience I have is Muay Thai, karate, Shotokan karate, jiu-jitsu, and kung fu.
Yes. And be come on in here, you be. He don't like to talk. He's an engineer. He just does math. But go. He talks more. Go ahead, Curly.
We do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, Shotokan, a little bit of boxing.
Do y'all do it in the backyard? What do y'all do?
Me and Dennis both have 2 black belts in kung fu.
What does that mean, 2 black belts?
I have a 1st degree black belt and a 2nd degree black belt
in kung fu,
and I have a 1st degree black belt in Shotokan and a 2nd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu.
And how long have you been taking kung fu? Or how long were you taking? When did you start? About
2012.
2012. And what year is it now?
2026.
Okay, so you have 2 black belts. And how many sparring matches or fighting matches have you had just at your in your fighting the kung fu class? How many times would you fight a day when you would go?
In the thousands.
In the thousands. So he's fought about 1,000 times, different opponents. That's what I want you to understand. Now, you, sir, do you have an equivalent amount of fighting? Yes, more or less. Okay. And what about jiu-jitsu? When did you start taking jiu-jitsu?
About 2015.
2015. So for 11 years, he's been taking jiu-jitsu. We know you can't fight, but that's okay. You cute. So the girls like it, the ladies like it. It's okay. I love it. You're going to play in the NBA. Say NBA.
NBA.
Say NBA. You in the back. Say NBA. You. That's what you're going to. He can't fight. I'm sorry. He's handsome. He likes to eat, but he tries. The bottom line is, and you've also been taking jiu-jitsu for about 11 years, right? And so there was a time when we had a conflict. There was a fight at a fight between you and another little black boy, right? And what did I tell you about that? Remember that fight that you had with the little black boy, and he lost his control, and he got suspended across town? What was it?
Yeah.
You remember that? It was the Korean guy who taught you guys, who was your first
Song.
Yeah, Professor Song. What happened at that event?
I was sparring against him, and then he got really upset.
He got upset.
Yes, and then
you speak so slow. So low. Go ahead.
He got really upset, and after we were done, he was really upset, and so he started having a tantrum, and he got put out the.
He got disqualified, right? And you beat him, right?
Yes.
Now, you remember? What did I tell you about when you're dealing with young boys who literally are raised by women? Be honest with. Tell the people, because I done told. See, this what I'm trying to do is explain to you all that I understand who I'm dealing with. If you're dealing with a young man who doesn't have emotional control, you can take advantage of them, because what happens is they start losing, you start causing them pain, they get emotional, and then once they get emotional, they expend whatever energy, and when there's nobody there to save them, all they do is break down and cry or get frustrated. So you remember these conversations that we've had? There was a time when there was a young black boy at jiu-jitsu. He was basically had a single mother bringing him up there, little black boy. And what did they do? The professors paired you off with him, right? Remember what he did there that made them all mad at him? What did he do?
I don't.
Well, he was a little rough with some of the girls.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they did was they put him with Roman. Now, Roman was probably 6 or 7 years into that, but they were about the same size. And so you gave him something to tussle with. And what happened?
I just beat him every time we went together.
Say again?
I just beat him every time we went together.
You beat him every time you went together. And what ended up happening to that little boy?
he dropped out.
He dropped out. You see what I'm saying? So this is what happens when you have boys who they don't know how to take a loss. They don't know how to take an L. They get over emotional. You see what I'm saying? And so, you know, I've trained my sons to recognize that. So what the gentleman was saying, basically, you can tell boys who are raised by their mother. Can you guys do that? You all have friends. Y'all in that group. You teenager, you're a teenager. What has been your impression by boys raised by their mom? I mean, I'm just asking you to be honest, based on your school experience, fighting experience, etc. Come closer to the microphone.
They're normally more emotional or anger. They get angry easier.
And what else? Have you noticed anything?
Just more reactive.
Now I want you to give all the women out there advice, because you're 18. Dennis is a 8th college student at one of the local universities working on his engineering degree. Roman is a straight A student. What are your plans for the future, sir? What do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, when you actually grow, what would you like to be when you finish with your, where you want to be? Where we land in this plane?
After I finish undergrad, I'm gonna go to law school.
Okay. And I think he and I have talked about construction law a little bit, and that's an option, but you can always work with that and learn. Maybe you never know. All right. And what about yourself, sir? What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna go to med school.
Med school. So I got a lawyer, a future lawyer, and a future doctor here. Now I think that discipline has been one of the most important things. Now, again, I'm not perfect, and I didn't have a perfect situation growing up. But what I was able to do is get help. You see, there's sensei, there are different instructors, there are different professors, different tutors even. That was for sure. What advice would you have to women who are raising boys by themselves? What did y'all grandma tell y'all mama to do? Y'all remember that? Come on in close.
Let us be with our dad.
Say again.
Let us be with our dad.
So their mother's mother said, let them boys go be with their daddy. That's what she said. And that was one of the best things that happened. But thank you guys so much. I don't want to hold y'all up. I appreciate that. But it's not just let them be dad, but what is it that you got from dad that could be helpful to all these people watching? Come in close and tell. What do you think, not just for me, but the experiences that I put you through? What do you think would be helpful for these people?
To control your emotions.
And how would they learn to do that?
By putting you in situations where your emotions might go crazy, like you could easily get mad. Right.
And your experience has been with martial arts, right? Right. Has martial arts made you want to fight people more, or has it made you actually tell them, because they don't know?
You don't really want to fight more because you already fight a lot.
Yeah, you fought 1,000 times. That's a lot of fights. People still talk about that one fight they had in the 3rd grade. You telling them he fought 1,000 times. Now, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. I'll put you per diem. I'll send you a check via Cash App or whatever. Thank you. Sir, I need you to come around here to the other side. I want you to come around here to the other side. Come on in. I know you're tall. Look how tall it is. Somebody type NBA in the chat room. Come on in down here, little light-skinned boy. Take a knee. Come on right down here. Come on over here. Come on up. You know, Daddy care about you deeply. I care about you so much. First round. Say first round.
First round.
First one. Come on over here. How tall are you? Take a knee. Are you comfortable? Take a knee. Put one knee up. Put one knee up. There you go. Come on in. There you go. Come on in. Come on in. Are you comfortable? So say NBA.
NBA.
You know, Daddy want to sit on the front seat. Daddy want to sit at the front seat in the stadium, okay? And so I'm really not trying to pay for tickets like that. I need you to hook me up with the tickets. And so that's going to require that you get on out there and win. So what have we been doing? What did we do this morning? What was our morning routine? What did you tell all the people what you did this morning when you woke up early? Go ahead, tell them.
I scored 200 shots and then ran around the little cul.
You ran around?
I ran around the cul-de-sac.
How many times?
Probably 20.
You did it 20 times. You ran 20 laps. What time was it? Was it early? Was everybody else awake?
I don't know if anyone. Dennis came out.
You came out. Who was out there with you?
You.
Rooting you on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I give you some warm and inspiring words to keep you motivated? No, well, you tell him. You know, Daddy's a kinder, gentler parent. That's him. Early in the morning, shooting hoops. Look at him over there. Is this you? Is that you right there shooting hoops?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dad, I gave you some kind, fine words, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Tell the people what kind words I said. What I say about it. Tell it.
There's only one more.
Only one more? Did I say anything about running or anything like that? What did I say to inspire you? Tell the people. Go ahead. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Tell them. Did Daddy tell you to run fast? I'm gonna make you run. Huh?
Yes.
If you don't run faster, what did Daddy say he was gonna do?
If you don't run faster, you're gonna run 5 more.
Oh no, I know. And what's the goal? What are we trying to be? It rhymes with late, starts with a G.
NBA.
No, greatness.
No. Oh, greatness.
Yes. And did you run the other day too? Mm-hmm. And then what else did you do? You did it the first day too, huh? Mm-hmm. So you've been running every day and shooting 200 baskets every day. And is that the only thing you do? You had to go to football practice too, huh?
Mm-hmm. And jiu-jitsu.
And jiu-jitsu. And what else?
And Shotokan today.
Yeah. So you're pretty busy. You're busy, huh? And you like it, don't you? You like being busy, don't you? Mm-hmm. Sit up straight, son. To the people. You like being busy and doing stuff that's was it we live in Texas. Was it nice and cool outside? No. It wasn't cool. It was it a little warm?
Yeah.
But the truth is you enjoy doing this stuff. You like doing the activities, don't you? Or would you rather just be sitting in the house eating donuts?
Well, I wouldn't want to sit in the house and just be eating donuts while
That wouldn't be a good idea, would it?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not a good idea. No, I think it's productive for you to do those things, son. And I want nothing but greatness for. And what else are we doing? What do we have to go to twice a week and sometimes 3 times a week?
Tutoring.
Because we want to have what? Great what?
Great endurance.
No, not just endurance. What else do we want to have?
Good grades.
Great. What are we shooting for this year? All what?
All A's.
All A's. Now, is Daddy just yelling at you saying get all A's, or is Daddy taking you to different places to help you?
You're taking me to different places to help
Are
me.
they doing it for free?
No.
So I'm investing in you, right? You see what I'm saying? Do I want to see my investment pay out? Mm-hmm. Now, the advice that I give you, is it to benefit me or you?
Me.
And we've had that conversation before, right? Mm-hmm. All the advice that I give my children benefits them, not me. He don't have to give me a dime. I'm gonna give me some NBA sideline tickets at some point. But the whole point is to make this man and those other young men the best men they can be. And it's not for me. It's for you. You see what I'm saying? We get that? Is that something that we understand?
Yes.
Now, what happens if you don't get to the NBA, but you got all A's and you're looking good, belts? You gonna feel good about yourself?
Yes.
You are? All right. Good to know. Thank you so much, sir. Good. How tall are you?
5'6" or 5'7".
Well, you taller than her, so you got to be taller than 5'6". How tall are you now? About 5?
Yeah, probably 5'7" or 5'8".
5'7", 5'8". How much you weigh?
170 or
170 pounds. 5 foot. Stand up real tall. He is 5'8", 170 pounds. And when did you turn 10?
in May.
Put your little eyeballs down here. He turned 10 in May. He going to the NBA. You gonna be a point guard or something. All right, man. I'm gonna holler at you, man. I love you. I love you. much. I need, but I know what I said, but I still need to enforce side seat. Okay, get on out of here. Get on out of here. Anyway, welcome back to the broadcast. Welcome back. That was a little kitty break. Little kitty break. But again, I think it's important to hear it out of the mouths of babes. You understand what I'm saying? Now, again, we are talking about black fatigue. And I'm going to tell you now, if any one of my sons are out there creating chaos and embarrassing me, they're going to have to answer to me. You understand what I'm saying? And they know that. You know, we have a close relationship. That don't mean they always like the fact that they have to get up and fight and do push-ups and all that sort of stuff. But it's good discipline for these boys. It's excellent discipline for these boys. Now, I expect at some point, just like my daddy, at some point they might be mad at me. You made us do all that. And I anticipate that too. But the great thing about being a dad is I don't
on good black fathers, man. I am sick of it, man, especially from you top level athletes, man. I just heard an interview with Trey Young, man. I know he loved his father, but man, he said he didn't like his father growing up and he tried to protect his little brother from his father, man. I don't want to hear that, man. Tatum did the same thing. Talking about he ain't like his dad growing up. Listen, y'all, there's plenty, I'm speaking for everybody who didn't grow up with a father, bro. We would love to have our dad push us every single day to be great, to make
you hear that?
Hundreds of $millions to play in the NBA.
They would love to have their daddy push them to go to law school and push them to go to medical school and push them to be the best they can be, whether it's to get an education or go and be an engineer or going to the NBA. They would love that. Again, all fathers matter, okay? And there's a difference between how boys are raised by their father and how boys are raised by their mothers. Look, I'm not knocking the single mothers. I've done enough research to realize most of the world is filled with single mothers. You know that Brazil has a bigger single mother problem than we do here in the United States. Same thing for Colombia. Same thing for Japan. They have a tremendous single mother problem in Japan. So it's not just something that's just germane here to the United States. But my point is that when you do have a father involved, it cuts down on the chaos, it increases the discipline. And the truth is, family, and we just have to be honest, we could have as many crazy women in the community doing whatever crazy stuff, but largely it's not black women doing the unaliving and the killing and the murdering. It's not the black women doing the drug dealing and the carjacking. It's black boys who run amok. And again, I'm an advocate for black men. And so you can call me whatever you want to call me, but at some point we have to take accountability for our sons, because our sons are the ones that are supposed to be the leaders of the community. Our sons are the ones that are supposed to be the protectors of the community. It is what it is, you see? And if this is the product that we're producing, and this is the chaos that they're creating, then we have to deal with that head up and head on. But again, there's a lot of young men who are angry with their daddy. They wish they had a single mother. They wish they could sit on the couch. Do you think the little light-skinned boy wanted to get up and run 20 laps and do and shoot 200 baskets? No, but we do that whether he likes it or not, because it's a good skill set to have. If he decides to play basketball in high school or college, and if he decides to have a NBA team gets him a look, I want him to be ready for that opportunity. What I don't want him is there to be a 6'8" and you can't ball, and they trying to give you this. They trying to give you $2 million on an NIL deal, but you can't do it. But anyway, we'll let the brother finish speaking.
We would love that, man. Listen, man, it ain't no book on how to be a father, man. But man, your father, these great men out here are pushing their kids to be great, and you kids are ungrateful for it, man. I don't care. Listen, I love my son to death, right? But I don't care if he likes me or not.
Yes.
You know why? If my son becomes successful as a man, as a married man, as a college graduate, if he becomes a millionaire, I did my job. See, man, listen, y'all. It's an attack on a black man, man. Do y'all see what's going on with us, man? They're attacking us at all angles, man. And they using us to attack each other. Listen, the black man, we the most hated person in the world. Okay? If I go to my job and I'm too outspoken, now I'm hard to deal with. If I go to my job and I'm not aggressive enough, or I'm too aggressive. He too aggressive, or if I come home and I'm not strong enough, oh, he weak, or my son don't like me, man. I don't care.
That's us early in the morning. You know, this was after my youngest son did his little early morning routine. So this is us headed up to our martial arts class this morning. Those two boys have black belts in Shotokan, and my youngest right there has a blue belt in Shotokan, and I have a green belt in Kaji Kembo karate. But we'll let the brother.
Listen, y'all, I'm sick of the slander on a great black dads, man. There's so many dads out here working their butts off, man, pushing their sons. No, all the methods ain't correct all the times, but it's working for y'all. Listen, my dad, I love him to death. I wish he would have pushed me. You would say, well, Derek, man, you made it anyway. No, man, I'd have been greater. I'd have been so much greater if my dad was in my life pushing me to be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Guys, I'm Derek Taylor, man. Leave a comment.
You hear that? He's so much greater if his dad was in his life pushing. You can't always coddle these boys. And I'm going to talk directly to the ladies. You can't coddle them, but you also can't just yell and scream at them or they're just going to turn off. It takes a dad. It really takes a dad, not a stepdad. And I know there's some stepdads who've been there, but it's great to have your own dad. And the ladies, unfortunately, some dads, you know, they can't do it. Some of them just can't do it. They're not prepared mentally or emotionally to deal with it. But typically, your dad is the only one who wants to see you do better than him. And so because of that, he'll invest. Same thing I do with my sons. But anyway, shout out to everybody who's been here for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get back to this broadcast. I want you guys to like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. I shout out to my sons for hanging out with me a little bit. I can still draft them in sometimes, but they're getting older, so I don't bother them too much. But anyway, like I said, lots of fans still think the NBA teams are simply asking, can this young man play? That's outdated thinking. That's old thinking. The real question now is, can this young man be trusted? Okay. Can he be trusted around a bunch of yes men? Can he be trusted when somebody insults him in public? Can he be trusted when the internet is laughing at him? Because the NBA is no longer just evaluating a jump shot. It's evaluating judgment. And that's where immaturity becomes expensive. A bad decision in high school might get you suspended. A bad decision in the NBA can cost the franchise millions of dollars and destroy a sponsorship relationship or derail a playoff run, or embarrass an owner, or brand, damage the brand, and put the whole organization in crisis. Okay, so who the adults in your life, right? Who are they that can pull you back when your ego and your temper, your friends, and your lack of faith tells you, don't be stupid. Okay, don't do something stupid. I can guarantee you now, any one of my sons, coaches of football, whatever, they can always call me. And if nobody else can get them in line, I will, because I don't care about their feelings like that. And I'm going to tell them straight up, straight down. Part of the reason I'm such a truth teller is because I don't hold back with my own kids. Now, let me say something people may not want to hear, but a lack of discipline is often a lack of faith. I don't just mean church attendance. I don't just mean quoting scriptures. I mean a deep belief that your future is worth protecting. I mean the belief that God gave you a gift and your job isn't to squander it in the street, in the club, or in somebody's DM that's going to get screenshot and put all over the internet. Okay, discipline is faith in action. Let me say that again. Discipline is faith in action, because discipline says, I believe my tomorrow is bigger than this temptation today. And that's why the immature man is so dangerous. He doesn't think long term. He doesn't think generationally. He doesn't think spiritually. He reacts, he performs, he proves himself to people who don't matter. He lets his pride make decisions that his future has to pay for. And billion-dollar organizations are tired of betting on men who can jump out of the gym but can't walk away from nonsense. And they're tired of young men who can score 30 points but can't show up and can't accept coaching and can't control their circle and can't understand that every decision is either protecting the investment or destroying it. Okay? The talent may get you drafted, but character gets you a second contract. Talent can make the scouts notice you, but character makes the organization trust you. Talent can get your name called at draft night. Character determines whether the franchise is still excited about you 4 years later. And that's the part these young players from these chaotic situations and some of these dysfunctional families miss. The contract is about potential. The second contract is about proof. But then the organization knows who you really are. They know they know whether you work, they know whether you listen. They know whether your friends are hungry for your success or hungry for your money. They know whether you're professionally or a professional, merely talented child with a bank account. And see, that's new. That's the new NBA. Being talented and unstable isn't enough. The league has too many options now. Europe is producing pros. Africa is producing pros. Canada is producing pros. So if you bring chaos, somebody else will bring talent with discipline. Now, this is where we have to be honest. See, that street mindset is bad business. None of these dudes that you saw here with me tonight, they are all square, okay? Because that ghetto street mentality, that's bad for business. And big businesses like the NBA can't build a global entertainment brand around players who still think they're trying to win respect on the block. You can't be worth $100 million and still make decisions like you're standing outside on the corner at midnight trying to prove you're not soft. That mentality is poison. It may impress broke people. It's going to impress your crash out friends. It might impress people on social media for 15 minutes till they move on, but it terrifies the heck out of billion-dollar organizations because business people don't care how tough you look. They care about whether you're reliable. They care about whether you protect the brand. They care whether parents can buy your jersey for their children without worrying that next week your name will be attached to something embarrassing, violent, or criminal. That's not racism. That's risk assessment. And the young men who understand that are going to survive in the NBA, and the ones who don't are going to become cautionary tales. Look, this is why fatherhood is important and why families in struggle. Fathers bring stability to the family, at least they're supposed to. And I'm not saying all fathers are good fathers, but that's what they're supposed to do. And stability isn't boring despite what people think. Stability is a superpower. A stable home teaches a child how to hear no. A stable home teaches delayed gratification. Okay? A stable home teaches accountability. A stable home teaches that feelings aren't commands. Are y'all hearing me? If you hearing what I'm saying, say amen, because a stable home teaches anger isn't leadership. A stable home teaches embarrassment isn't an emergency. And those lessons matter when young men suddenly have fame and money and women throwing themselves at all this attention, and they have to deal with the criticism and pressure coming at him all at once. That doesn't mean every great player comes from a perfect family. I've never said that. Nobody's saying that. But teams are watching for signs of structure because structure reduces risk. And the NBA isn't just asking whether a player has talent. It's asking whether he has enough foundation to survive. And when a young man has no internal compass, no faith, no discipline, no father figure, no strong family system, and nobody around him who can tell him the truth, he becomes dangerous to himself and expensive to everybody connected to him. You see? We talking about black fatigue. Somebody type black fatigue in the chat room. See, when you start looking at what the NBA is doing, they're getting a bunch of white players and they get drafted a bunch of dudes with daddies. The image of the new NBA starts to become very clear because when we talk about whether the NBA has black fatigue, we can't reduce the issue to race alone. Race is part of that conversation, but it's not the whole conversation. The deeper question is this: what kind of black athlete is the modern NBA most comfortable investing in? What kind of young man does $1 billion sports corporation believe it can trust with money, fame, discipline, accountability, and brand representation and long-term development. And see that again, that's where that 2026 NBA draft became important, because that draft didn't just showcase basketball talent. There's plenty of that. It showcased family structure. It showcased fathers. It showcased organized households. It showcased parental investment, long-term. It showcased delayed gratification. It showcased young men who didn't just arrive in the NBA's doorsteps by accident, but because of but through years of planning, sacrifice, supervision, coaching, discipline, and adult involvement. And when I looked at that top of the 2026 draft, one thing immediately jumped off the screen. It wasn't merely height and athleticism and wingspan, and wasn't just because their mama was white, some of them, or they had a good jump shot, okay? The NIL money or the recruitment rankings, none of that wasn't important. It was families. More specifically, it was visible presence of dads and stable support systems. Okay, when we talking about AJ, Cameron, Michael Brown Jr., Darius Akoff, Kingston Flemings, again and again, you see young men standing. You don't see them standing there without anybody. They're not isolated or disconnected. You saw families, you saw fathers. They were present, they were active, they were intentional, and they were invested. And that matters because money, correction, planning, right? The NBA is no longer just drafting players, okay? It's studying the environment that produced those players. Look, for decades, right, America's been sold a very specific narrative about Black fatherhood. We've been told that Black fathers are absent and missing, irrelevant, irresponsible, disposable. That story has been repeated so often that people accept it as a cultural fact. But when you look at many of these young men, now look at mine, right? Look at them. They are positioned as the future faces, not just of the NBA, but of Black America. So that narrative is going to start to have to break down. Again, you see Black fathers in the gym. You see them on the road. You see them at the AAU tournaments. You see fathers studying film, selecting trainers, managing schedules, protecting their sons from bad influences, and helping their sons understand that basketball is no longer merely a game. It's a business. It's a brand. It's a career path. And in many cases, the father isn't standing on the sideline as a symbol. He's part of the infrastructure. And that's where the uncomfortable truth begins. We can't honestly discuss the new NBA without discussing the advantages that come from that structure. Okay? We can't pretend that a young man raised with stability, supervision, discipline, resources, adult guidance, and strong expectation doesn't have a meaningful advantage over a young man raised in chaos. Somebody type chaos in the chat room. All right. Again, I'm not trying to put single parents on blast, especially single mothers. I'm not trying to do that. Again, single mother problem is worldwide. Somebody type worldwide in the chat room. I did a whole broadcast on how they got all these single mothers in Japan and Colombia and Brazil and the Dominican Republic. It is rampant. Okay. I'm not saying we haven't had great players born to single mothers. You can do that. It's obvious. History's proven that again and again. And that's not an attack on single mothers, especially Black single mothers, many of them who have performed the best they could. They've done historic jobs. They worked under pressure. They dealt with what they had to. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. All right? At all. But we also have to stop pretending that family structure doesn't matter either, right? It's not the same as having a daddy. See, the truth is, the single motherhood is often not merely about one parent being at home. It often is accompanied by poverty, unstable neighborhoods, weak schools, trauma, violence, transportation problems, limited networks, lack of access, emotional exhaustion, and the daily stress of survival. That issue isn't simply the absence of a father as a biological fact. The issue is absence of structure as a developmental reality. And that's why the draft matters. The NBA may not say it out loud. It may never hold a press conference and admit it, but the pattern is there. Somebody type pattern recognition. The modern NBA doesn't simply want gifted athletes. It wants young men who have already been trained to function inside a system. It wants players who understand discipline before they arrive at the training camp, and it wants prospects who can take correction, absorb pressure, all right, avoid stupidity, and understand the difference between talented and being talented and being a professional. Okay, and that's because the NBA teams they can't do it. Too much risk. You see, and that's the part that most fans miss. Not just about white boys on the NBA in LA. They figured out that lack of discipline is expensive, and lack of faith in one's own future is expensive. The NBA has figured out that fathers matter. It's a good investment. You understand? And I'm not just talking about biology. I'm talking about structure. I'm talking about a man who teaches a boy that talent isn't enough and that feelings aren't commands, that anger isn't strength, and that attention isn't love, and money without wisdom can destroy you. You understand? Let's look at the history. We've seen this before. When you look at the men who aren't merely good, look at the NBA players, the legitimate all-time legends. There's a pattern that's hard to ignore. Michael Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, hell, Magic Johnson. They aren't just former stars. They're routinely placed in the highest tier of NBA history. ESPN ranked Jordan, Magic, Kobe, and Shaq all inside the top 10 players of all time. They did that for the 75th anniversary. And that matters because these men didn't just make the league. They dominated the league. They changed the league. They became brands beyond the league. And in each case, they were as powerful. It was a powerful structure around them before the NBA. Jordan had James and Dolores Jordan, his mom and daddy. ESPN described Jordan as growing up with a military father and a deeply religious mama, with hard work treated as the route forward. Magic Johnson came from a working class 2-parent household where his father worked at General Motors while also doing janitorial work and collecting garbage. He had 3 jobs, and his mother worked hard too to hold the home together. Kobe, we know Kobe. He was raised inside basketball itself. His father was Joe Jellybean Bryant, former NBA player, international professional, who helped shape Kobe understanding and preparation and execution and the game as a craft. And then we know Shaq. Shaq's biological father was absent, but Shaq has repeatedly credited his stepfather, Army Sergeant Philip Harrison, with tough love, discipline, and work ethic. Different households, different stories, different imperfections, same common denominator structure. Now I want you to compare that to the following. Let's be, are we gonna have an honest conversation? Somebody type all dads matter in the chat room. Somebody type black dads matter in the chat room. Let's compare that to the sideshow of Derek Coleman, 6'10", number 1 overall pick, rookie of the year, all-star. You understand? And a player talented enough to last 15 NBA seasons. But he isn't in the top 10 conversation, is he? We don't talk about him like we talk about Jordan and Magic and Kobe and Shaq, do we? Derek Coleman, he's not discussed as one of the greats. Or what if? Because look, the reports and the retrospectives have long since connected his career arc to the criticism about commitment, attitude, and conditioning. In other words, he had enough talent to stay around, but not enough consistency and discipline and professional force to become what his gifts suggest he could become. You heard what my little boy said? Discipline. Somebody type discipline in the chat room. Discipline. He lacked discipline. Michael Beasley is another example. Beasley was the number 2 overall pick in 2008, one of the most gifted scorers to enter the league and still manage an 11-year NBA career. But again, nobody talks about him as one of the all-time greats. Nobody puts him in a serious legacy conversation. Why? Because the talent was never the real question. The question was everything around the talent. Early in his career, he was fined $50,000 by the NBA for his involvement in an incident at the rookie transition program, and ESPN later reported he had entered an outpatient drug rehabilitation treatment as part of the NBA's drug program. That doesn't mean Beasley wasn't we're not saying he's a bad person. It means the machine saw risk where fans saw buckets. You understand? They've been down this road before. Royce White, y'all even know his name. Different kind of example. Okay, it has to be handled with some humanity. His issue wasn't stupidity in the ordinary sense. His issue involved anxiety, fear of flying, and conflict over how the league should accommodate mental health conditions in a travel-heavy profession. ESPN reported that White wanted permission from the Rockets to travel to some games by private bus because of his fear of flying. And a legal analysis of his situation described his anxiety disorder as obsessive compulsive disorder, as making it difficult to play in the NBA precisely because the NBA job itself requires constant air travel. So the lesson isn't, I'm not mocking mental health. The lesson is that the talent alone still wasn't enough. They don't want to deal with that. A first-round body, first-round basketball IQ, first-round skill set, couldn't overcome the instability between players, needs the organization's demand. What about Delonte West? Y'all know who Delonte West? Homeless. This is tragic. West was a real NBA player. He had skill. Google Delonte West when y'all get a chance. He had played meaningful minutes. He had a career, but his post-NBA life has been marked by highly public struggles with mental health and substance abuse and homelessness and concerns and repeat trouble. And some of the recent reporters described West having been diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2008 and continue to struggle with mental health, substance abuse, and homelessness and arrest after his NBA career. That isn't something to laugh at. I'm not laughing at it. It's not something to celebrate. That's a warning. If a man's internal life is collapsing, his jump shot can't save him. If the structure around him breaks down, talent becomes irrelevant. You understand? Do y'all remember Javarius Crittenton? And it's hard, right? Javarius Crittenton, talented enough to get drafted 19th overall by the LA Lakers in 2007. But his NBA career was derailed after that infamous Washington Wizards gun incident with Gilbert Arenas. And later, his life went into a far darker place. Far darker. ESPN reported that Crittenton pled guilty to manslaughter in 2011, shooting the death of a mother of four. He admitted in court that he was a gang member and received 23-year prison sentence. And people later reported that he served a decade before being released in 2023 under strict probation and community service. You a gang member and you in the NBA? Think about that. Where was the structure? That was not a basketball problem. That was a life problem. That was a judgment problem. That was an environment problem. That was a manhood problem. So when you say this is bigger than when I'm saying this is bigger than basketball, this is what I mean. Jordan had a billionaire business afterwards. The man's on the Forbes list. Kobe Bryant, before he passed away, he built Granity Studios. Magic Johnson, CEO of Magic Johnson Enterprises. Shaquille O'Neal, he owned his, Shaquille probably almost a millionaire by now. And that's the difference. That's the structured men, okay, didn't just survive basketball. You understand? They converted basketball. They used that same discipline, instruction, and stuff they learned in those households, and they created businesses and ownership, media branding, investments, philanthropy, and legacy. The unstable men, they end up going to jail. They end up being homeless. They were elite athletes, but they became the stories people tell as warnings. And that's the harsh truth. And that's exactly why the NBA teams now look beyond highlights. Am I making sense? Are y'all learning something? I know Y'all probably wanted me to talk about the law and some self-defense, but we got to get back to learning and advancing the culture and being honest with each other. Somebody type black fatigue in the chat room. Look, the NBA and oftentimes some of these colleges, they understand something our culture keeps trying to avoid. You aren't merely drafting athletic ability. You're drafting discipline. You're drafting judgment. You're drafting family structure. You're drafting emotional maturity. You're drafting faith in the future. You're drafting whether the young man has been trained to protect what God gave him or trained to gamble it away on pride, loose women, weed, drugs, guns, bad friends, and street approval. And the modern NBA isn't confused. They've been down that road. Though the excuses are loud, but a $1 billion organization doesn't have the luxury of being sentimental. Because see, eventually the bill comes due. And when the bill comes due, talent alone doesn't pay it. And today, that kind of leadership, let me tell you something, man. I've been involved in youth basketball with my son for about a year now. It's no longer a childhood activity. It's a family business, a development system, a recruiting pipeline, and for a small group of elite prospects, the earliest stage of a multi-million-dollar career. I already talked to my son about NIL deals. Parents aren't merely dropping their kids off at practice and hoping the coach discovers them. They're paying for trainers, AAU travel, exposure camps, tournament fees, uniforms, shoes, film, social media promotion, recruiting services, and sometimes private school and prep school opportunities. The Aspen Institute Project Play reported that the average U.S. sports family spent $1,016 on a child's primary sport in 2024. That's a 46% increase since 2019. That means youth sports isn't some innocent side activity anymore. It's an industry. And once youth basketball becomes an industry, the family becomes part of the business model. The child is no longer simply a player. The child is an enterprise. And somebody has to manage the schedule and pay the fees and get him to the tournament and has his games filmed, and talk to the coaches and monitor the social media and understand how recruiting works. Somebody has to protect them from these damn fools and users and parasites and loose women and fake friends and jealous cousins and crash out homies and homegirls. Whether people like it or not, the family is often the first management team. And if the family is chaotic and undisciplined and broke or absent or emotionally unstable, then the player starts his professional career already carrying risk into the NBA. That's why access matters and planning matters. Stability matters. A father who can't take off work, drive across the country, sit in the gym, speak to coaches, study the system, protect his son's name, and keeping focus matters. You see? Executives, they know that. They may not say it publicly because it sounds too judgmental, but they absolutely factor into the investment decision. And that's also why people need to go back and reconsider LeVar Ball. Y'all remember we laughed at him when his little shoe game? They mocked him. Now y'all talking about him because he just got a divorce. They called him arrogant and loud and controlling and delusional and ridiculous. You remember that? But let's strip all that away. Let's strip all the theatric away and ask a serious question. What did that man actually understand before everybody else admitted it? He understood that modern basketball had become a business, branding, leverage, ownership, marketing, and family control. He believed in his sons before the world did. He created a development plan. He built a family brand. He tried to keep the value of his children's labor inside the family, and instead of handing it over to shoe companies and schools and coaches and agents and middlemen. Time reported years ago that LeVar Ball used Big Baller brand to challenge the old amateur model and capitalize on the value attached to his son's name before the NIL became language everybody else started using. Y'all remember that? Now, you may not like LeVar Ball personally. You may not like his personality. You may not like his methods. You may think he's too loud, too aggressive, too promotional, and just too much. That's cool, but the concept wasn't crazy. In many ways, the modern basketball economy is proving fathers like LeVar Ball saw the direction the game was headed earlier than most people were willing to admit. His execution may be debatable, but his premise was not. The premise was that if your child is going to be treated like a business asset by everybody else, then the family had better start thinking like owners and not spectators. That's foresight. And this is it's bigger than basketball. It's the same principle in my own life. Many of my Black professional friends, doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, business owners, school teachers, executives, and other educated pros, they follow the same pattern. You see, did you hear what my two sons just said? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a lawyer. The other one, I'm just playing. He might go to the NBA, but other than that, he's going to go to law school too. We've talked about that. That's his fallback plan. But the bottom line is, let's talk about the engineers, the doctors, the lawyers, the accountants, and the business owners. They went to college. They went to graduate school. They got married. They built households. They raised children with structure. I'm talking to the regular folks. Somebody type regular rich, all you rich Black people in there, all you snooty Black people with your engineering degrees, all you snooty Black lawyers. Somebody type snooty in the chat room. That's who I'm talking to now, snooty. You're the main ones. All your kids are not going to go to the NFL or NBA or play professional sports, but they can go to grad school and professional school. But what I found is that these professionals, they raise their children with structure. They made long-term decisions instead of short-term emotional decisions. And many of them are millionaires now, or they're well on their way. That isn't an accident. That's not luck. That's what happens when education, marriage, planning, discipline, faith, delayed gratification compound over time. That's the power structure. That's the real empowerment right there. That's the power of marriage. That's the power of two learned adults building in the same direction. That's the power of a household where children watch adults get up, go to work, pay bills, solve problems, invest, sacrifice, and think generationally. And that's exactly what a lot of people don't want to discuss because it forces us to stop blaming everything on the outside world. Somebody type racism in the chat room. You see? I get it. Look, racism exists. Opportunity matters. Okay? Access matters. America has historically placed a lot of barriers in front of Black people for generations before. But after we say all that, we still have to ask what we are building inside our own homes. We still have to ask whether our children are being raised with discipline or raised by excuses. We still have to ask whether whether we're preparing them for success or merely hoping they survive this disorder. Again, you listening to me? And we're using the NBA. We're talking about big business, but this is America, generally speaking. This is life. Now, it's related to the NBA. I've already explained to you all. The league is global. You got competition from all over the world. It's not just kids growing up in Chicago, Detroit, New York, and LA, and Houston, and Atlanta that you're competing with people from continent, Europe, Africa, Canada, Australia, Latin America, anywhere else. The NBA has franchised. They got something called FIBA, which is basketball without border programs, brought 40 top high school age prospects from 29 countries to places like LA in 2026 to an all-star camp. You understand? These people are producing trained professionals So the American child, including Black American child, can't survive on talent alone anymore. He has to be developed. He has to have adults around him who understand the assignment, and development requires structure. That's why this fatherhood conversation belongs inside a larger question of whether NBA has Black fatigue and whether America has Black fatigue. You understand? Think about that. Y'all still with me or y'all bored? Again, the real question is not whether the NBA is tired of Black players. The real question is whether the NBA is tired of chaos. Aren't y'all tired of chaos? If you tired of chaos, type tired in the chat room. If you tired of this, you tired of being associated with degeneracy, type tired in the chat room. All my snooty Black people, type tired in the chat room. You tired of that. Okay? But again, that 2026 draft and the fact that they have all these white fellas on the starting roster in the Lakers, it showed us more than who got picked and who's playing the starting position. It showed us who's been prepared. It showed us who's been protected. It showed us who's been developed. It showed us who has structure behind it. It showed us who has somebody standing beside them before the cameras arrived and before the league decided they were worth the risk. Now, I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who contributed to the super chat. All right, I got a few more things to say. We only got 6 super chats, so we're gonna roll through this real quick. I hope y'all learn. So as I say, you all don't owe me anything, but I do appreciate the super chats. It lets me know that I've made an impact, and this is the way to keep score. But I want to give a big shout out to Mike of Malice, Leon 008, the LA has Anglo-Saxon Goth Visigoth Franklin. You hilarious, man. You clearly watching the History Channel. Shout out to you, man. Kent Jones, this is why I didn't like strip club night for Atlanta Hawks. Right, we didn't even invent strip clubs, but it's our culture. Yeah, that's crazy. Good observation. Cameron Foster, I got my hands and feet caught in a belt sander, resulting in being a quadruple degloved. It's been tough, but I'm getting my first set of skin grafts tomorrow. Much love. Hey, man, golly, yeah, man. That's tough, man. Thank you so much for that. We'll keep us updated on that. Slinger, thank you so much. Became a YouTube member. Thank you to 2 of them. All right, appreciate you. And Birds 513, happy 4th from the FBAs. Good looking out. Yeah, man. Good looking out, man. Then let me just hit y'all with some truth. Can I want to share my thoughts, my real thoughts on this, okay? And again, I kind of shared something with you guys about my own little boy. Again, this conversation is not something I'm having in abstract. I'm not sitting here talking about fatherhood, structure and discipline in youth and sports and family investment like this is some academic theory. I'm living it. And I brought my boys on here to live it, not just with the sports, but with the academics. You see my little boy, my little 10-year-old, right? Based on the size of his parents, he's supposed to be 6'7" or 6'8". I'm 6'4", his mama's 5'11" and a half. So he clearly has my body type. So I'm assuming he's gonna have my strength and quickness and height. The height is there, the frame is there, the athletic. They have him playing offensive tackle on his little AU football team. That's cool. You understand? The genetics of greatness are there. And at some point, it becomes about work and structure and sacrifice and training and money and nutrition and sleep and discipline. And the entire family, including my wife, cooking for him, making sure he eats. His brothers, make sure he does his weightlifting and other things. You see? And I think this child's future is worth organizing. And let me tell you what it looked like. Private basketball sections are $65 a session. They last an hour. Youth basketball on Tuesdays, $100 to play in the game. And then you add strength coaches in the football practices and the basketball practice. Sometimes I have to take him there so I can't start my broadcast at 8 o'clock at night. You understand? Protein, proper sleep, recovery, transportation, shoes, gear, the time that I spend. Okay, this isn't This isn't a go outside and play until the street lights come on situation anymore. Shout out to We Are the People. This is a second job. It's a side hustle. It's almost a family business. I'm running across town nearly every day of the week for something. My wife is involved. She makes sure he exercises. My older sons make sure he lifts weights. And then we still have to make sure the child is getting tutored and developed and academically, because a physically gifted fool is still a fool. And this is a full family operation. And this is what people need to understand the difference between yesterday's sports world and today's sports world. My older sons, I steered them more towards martial arts because I wanted them physically fit, disciplined, confident, and capable of defending themselves. But I could see early on that they didn't have the overwhelming size that I was naturally born with. So we built discipline and strength and toughness and physical confidence in other ways. And they became excellent martial artists, right? Because I wanted them physically fit, and that served the purpose, and it ends to a goal, ends to a means, okay? But I'm saying my youngest son is in a different kind of situation. This is a different level of physical potential. And when you're dealing with that level of potential, the competition isn't merely local anymore. It's not just the best kid in the neighborhood. It's not just the kid in the city. It's not just the kid in Texas, California, Georgia, or New York. This boy is literally going to be competing with the world. And that's the reality now. Sports has become global. The NBA is global. The NFL is global. Baseball has already been changed by international talent. We already see how Black Dominican players have become one of the dominant Black presences in Major League Baseball. And now football is finding athletes all over the world. Look at that, like they built in a laboratory. You know that guy, I think his name is Or Bernard, the Nigerian defensive line prospect. He is 6'4", 306 pounds, 6% body fat. Ran a 4.63 in the 40-yard dash, 39-inch vertical leap. You understand? That dude can damn near jump 4 feet in the air from a standing position. 10-foot broad jump, 31 reps on the bench press of 225. You understand? They called him a 306-pound missile. And the New York Post reported that his broad jump was 14 inches better than any defensive tackle at the year's NFL Combine. That's the future. That's the level of athletic coming. That's what's coming. And whether we're talking about the NBA or the NFL, the message is the same. The world has entered the talent pool. America isn't the only farm system anymore. The inner city isn't the only recruiting ground anymore. The cornfields of Indiana and Iowa aren't the only places where scouts are looking anymore. They're looking in Nigeria. They're looking in Europe. They're looking in the Caribbean. They're looking in Africa. They're looking in Canada. They're looking everywhere. And when you get a 300-pound Nigerian who can run like that, jump like that, and is not going to give you all that hell and pushback, I'm just saying. That's why sports has changed. It's made time. Look, it may be time for Black people to start transitioning our children more aggressively into becoming doctors and lawyers. Hint, hint. Somebody type hint, hint. They might need to give up that baseball career and think about engineering or accounting. They might need to maybe not thinking about being a free safety at LSU and focus on business owners. How about pilots? Somebody type Black pilot in the chat room. It's an option. And I'm not saying don't play sport. I'm saying sports teach discipline and toughness and teamwork, okay? They can open a lot of doors, but we can't keep acting like professional sports is a realistic wealth plan for the masses. It's not. It's a lottery ticket with training expenses. And now the lottery ticket costs more than ever because elite youth sports has become a millionaire's game. You understand? It's not a game. That's an industry. And if you don't have the money, the time, the transportation, or stable adults, tutoring, nutrition, coaching, discipline, your child is already behind. Not because he isn't talented, not because he isn't worthy, but because the system has changed. A talented used to be enough to get noticed. It used to be, but now talent has to be developed, branded, protected, trained, filmed, promoted. That takes money. That takes family. That takes structure. Let me talk to y'all for a minute. I want to tell you something. Okay? See, a lot of you all are shocked because you thought that brothers had a lock on it. Somebody type genetics in the chat room. Okay? Somebody type genetics in the chat room. Isn't that what you thought? I'm going to share something with you guys, man. And this is where I have to admit something my father told me years ago. My father, Dennis F. Spurling, he was a lawyer. He passed away on November 20th, 2021. Dude wasn't a couch potato, giving me theories about sports from the sideline. My father was a real athlete. He was a star football player at UCLA. He played for the Bruins in 1968 and 1969. He actually played against O.J. Simpson in USC's Trojan. Y'all remember him. I know we try to forget him, right? During that era. Before UCLA, he graduated from Fallbrook High School in outside of San Diego. He was an all-state California running back. He was a high school wrestler. He was a baseball player. And some of his records, as far as I know, are still part of the California high school history. And this athletic bloodline didn't start with him. His father, my grandfather, Jim Bubba, somebody type Bubba in the chat room, a man from Shreveport, Louisiana, well, actually Mansfield, Louisiana. Jim Bubba Spurling played in the Negro League. He was a Negro League baseball player. He was also a Marine during the Korean War era, a sergeant, I believe. And even as an older Marine, my grandfather could still keep up with the young men. So when my father talked to me about sports and genetics and hunger and toughness, what really makes the athlete great, he's not speaking as a spectator. He's speaking from a lived experience. And the truth is, he knew more than I did. My organized athletic experience ended in high school, where I played offensive tackle at Manual Arts High School in South Central Los Angeles. And since then, I've stayed involved in boxing, jiu-jitsu, weightlifting, but I never played sports at the level my father did. My father was better than me athletically, straight up, just period. I remember being around 16 years old, wrestling with him in the YMCA downtown Houston. He was already in his 40s. I was 16. I was feeling myself. Okay. I was young. I was strong. I just finished my first year of football. I had something for him, right? I had something for him. Okay. The next thing I know, he had double leg takedown, put me flat on my back, and I was staring up at the ceiling trying to catch my breath. Okay. That man was still a hell of an athlete at 40-some years old. So when I look back on the conversations we used to have, I have to admit that I probably should have listened to him more. And the disagreement we had was simple. I used to say black people were naturally more athletic and dominant genetically in sports. And that's something that many of you all believe, right? Right? You think that, right? And my dad pushed back on that. He told me, no, it's not that. We're not genetically superior. It's that we're hungrier. You understand? And for a lot of us, sports was one of the only ways out. At the time, I disagreed with him. I thought he was you take a big black male and you put it with a big black female, and then you can get you a big black buck and put him out on the football field. That's what I tried that. You see what I'm saying? So, I came from that. I came from that theory. But, I thought he was just underestimating the natural physical gifts of black athletes. But now, when I look at the NBA and I look at the NFL and I look at global soccer and baseball and international sports, I understand his point much better. Genetics matter. Size matters. Okay. Speed matters. Explosiveness matters. But hunger matters more. And that's the part a lot of comfortable black Americans don't want to hear. Hunger changes a person. Desperation changes a person. Environment changes a person. When a child believes basketball, football, baseball, soccer is the only way to lift his family up out of poverty and war and instability or national hopelessness, he brings a different level of urgency. He doesn't treat practice like an extracurricular activity. He treats it like survival. You understand? He doesn't treat conditioning like punishment. He treats it like escape. He doesn't treat discipline like oppression. He treats it like the price of freedom. And that's why the international athletes are coming. And they're coming from Eastern Europe. You understand? They're coming. That's why Africans are coming. That's why Caribbean players are coming. That's why the Dominican players have become a major force in Major League Baseball. These young men aren't merely showing up with height, wingspan, and athletic gifts. Many of them are showing up with hunger. They're showing up with national pride, and they're showing up with expectations. They're showing up with understanding that if they make it, they may change the destiny of everybody connected to them. That's the story. Okay? As a matter of fact, that story is just as powerful as the old American story about the black kid from the ghetto shooting hoops on cracked concrete with worn out basketball shoes playing in some old school Converse. So when we look at the NBA today, we see more international players. These white boys ain't the regular white boys. These are some Eastern. You know what's going on in Eastern European? You know what's going on over there? Somebody type war. Okay? Y'all need to stop laughing like this is an accident. It's not an accident. The league expanded the search. The world answered. And some of these young men are bringing the same hunger that Black Americans used to bring when sports felt like one of the only doors open to us. That's why my father's point matters. We weren't great merely because we were Black. We were great because we were gifted. Yes, we were gifted, but also because we were desperate. You understand me? We picked cotton from sun up to sundown. We were dealing with oppression. The only way out was to run faster, jump higher, hit harder, practice more. So we became focused, tough, disciplined. To add to that hunger, we were great because sports was one of the few places where America couldn't completely deny what it saw with its own eyes. You could discriminate in the classroom. You could discriminate in the boardroom. You could discriminate in the courtroom. But when a Black man ran past you, jumped over you, knocked you down, crossed you over, or hit the ball over the fence, there was only so much line you could do. But see, now the world is caught up. And Black America isn't the same position that we were 50 or 60 years ago, were we? Somebody type snooty Black people in the chat room. Somebody type snooty Black people. We have more professionals. We have more millionaires. We have a whole lot more options and a whole lot more pathways. And we have families who don't need to gamble their child's future on sports. And that means our hunger has changed. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a sign of progress. It means we've stopped pretending that the sports world is frozen in 1985. It's not. The game has changed. The standards have changed. You see? And when we ask whether the NBA has Black fatigue, I come back to my daddy's wisdom. Maybe the NBA isn't tired of Black players. Maybe it's tired of the chaos. And my daddy tried to tell me years ago, shout out to High Tolerance. He tried to tell me that hunger matters. I fought him on it. I thought genetics explained more than he did. But now looking at the modern NBA and what's going on with global sports, I think that the old man was right, rest his soul. Talent gives you a chance. Genetic gives you the tools, but hunger, structure, and discipline and faith, that's determined what you do with them. Now, let's have an honest conversation. Okay? We need to have an honest conversation. Y'all ready to speak honestly right quick? Got to be honest with ourselves. We're not the people we were 50, 60, 70 years ago. Compared to the rest of the African diaspora, shout out to you, High Tolerance. Compared to the rest of the African people of African descent on this planet, the Caribbean, these people are trying to do everything they can to get over here. We are not hungry anymore. Black America, FBA, we are not hungry anymore. A lot of us aren't broke. We're not desperate. We're not skinny. And trying to find a way out of abject poverty. A lot of us are comfortable. I know I'm comfortable. A lot of us are sitting in the air conditioning, sitting at desks, working on laptops, Zoom calls. Y'all on an expensive cell phone right now, listening to me. Practicing law, teaching school, we're running businesses, investing in 401ks, we're buying houses, second houses, third houses, vacation houses, rental property, taking cruises, eating brunch, sipping mimosa, ordering DoorDash, and then complaining the driver forgot your extra ranch sauce. Thank God for that. Because our ancestors were the real originators of Black fatigue. Listen to me. See, it's not about this NBA marketing. It's not about social media. Okay? I'm talking about real Black fatigue. I'm talking about real Black fatigue was waking up before daylight and working until you couldn't see anymore. Real Black fatigue was breaking your body in the fields, in the factories, on the docks, on the rail lines, in the kitchens, in the mines, in the military uniforms, in every backbreaking job America needed done, but refused to properly respect. Our ancestors were laying tracks, picking crops, loading ships, digging ditches, cleaning houses on their hands and knees, working steel, serving food, building roads, and doing the dirty work that made this country move. They worked so we wouldn't have to destroy our knees and our backs and our shoulders and our brains just to survive. They took the punishment so we could have options. We have become fat and rich. Somebody type fat and rich in the chat room. We have become fat and rich. And I'm saying that with all sincerity. Look, I'm saying it with a smile, but I'm also keeping it real with you. We have more comfort and more money and more opportunity and more choices than our ancestors ever could dream. The Census Bureau reported that in 2021, roughly 1 in 20 Black households is worth $1 million. Think about that. 1 in 20 of y'all are worth $1 million. Forbes reported that Black people represented about 8% of the U.S. millionaires. You hear me? That doesn't mean everybody's a millionaire. And it doesn't mean racism has disappeared. It's like the weather. It's not going anywhere. But apparently we found a way to deal with it. It means that the age-old image of Black America as all the way across the world uniformly poor and desperate and trapped in the ghetto and looking for a way out through athletics as an escape route, that's outdated. We have a larger middle class. We have more professionals. We have more homeowners, business owners, millionaires, more families with something to lose. And that's why that whole Jaylen, you know that young man, Jaylen Brown, y'all know who he is? Big controversy. Jaylen Brown, y'all know who I'm talking about?
What you wish for. You really want me to start reporting on that level? You understand?
Oh, be careful. Motherfucker John Gotti.
You all know who Jaylen Brown is.
Locker room? How to organize.
I don't know, you guys help me decide, but this is former Auburn basketball coach Bruce Pearl posting.
Hold on, you guys know who Jaylen Brown is? He's been all over the news. Somebody type Jaylen Brown. If you know him.
Sources tonight, 2 people in the league, one an executive, one a scout, say that Jaylen Brown it's a disease. he suddenly thinks he's the smartest guy in every room he's in. One executive told me this was always a little bit of Jaylen Brown's personality, kind of the smartest guy in the room.
Jaylen Brown may feel he's the smartest person in the room because oftentimes he is most likely the smartest person in the room, but I want to talk about what's happening with the media day one after the Sixers traded for Brown. What I think happened is Bill Chisholm and Sixth Street Private Equity that bought the Celtics last year in the largest purchase of an American sports team ever pushed the Boston Celtics into a terrible mistake. This is the type of stupid shit that happens when you view a team simply as an investment and you do not actually care about.
They traded Jaylen Brown because he's too smart, too intelligent, too educated. Listen to it. He got too much to say. Just listen. Listen. Smartest person in the room.
What's happening to the team, which ironically is how Josh Harris tends to run the Philadelphia 76ers. Paul George just turned 36 years old and was burnt out in the second half of almost every single playoff game last year. Traded him for a 29-year-old that in my opinion is a top 10 player in the NBA. Talk about the coping that's being done today and the defense of the Boston Celtics organization because they're saying Brown felt like he was the smartest guy in every room, but before the draft, they said that he was too smart for the NBA. This was a very popular part of his scouting profile. They said he's someone that's extremely intelligent and inquisitive that doesn't fit the mold of a so-called basketball player.
It doesn't fit the mold of a hungry, do whatever we say, do basketball.
He was asked about this. He said, what is the mold of a basketball player? Jaylen Brown is a bilingual chess-playing musician who did exceptionally well at UC Berkeley. He's been brought back to speak about education and tech at Harvard, at Berkeley itself, at MIT. A guy who was a fellow at the MIT Media Lab, who was offered an internship with NASA, has taken a strong interest in robotics as well. Brown also has a foundation called JUICE, which, quote, partners with institutions, organizations, and social change leaders to bridge the opportunity gap for youth in traditionally underserved communities. Focuses on sustainability, technology, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and much more. Also started Boston Exchange, saying, quote, I want to launch a project to bring back Black Wall Street here to Boston. I want to attack the wealth disparity here. I think there's analytics that supports stimulating the wealth gap that could actually be something that could be a betterment for the entire economy. All for the media to justify a horrible trade by turning around and saying, well, Jaylen Brown thinks he's the smartest person in the room. Because again, looking at the stupidity of this trade and how the Celtics are moving, he probably was.
So, Jaylen Brown, black man. Here's a black athlete who doesn't fit the old box. Okay, he doesn't fit in there. He isn't just a basketball body. He isn't just a dunker, a scorer. Okay? It's not just a jersey seller or a defender. He's a highly educated, intellectually curious, union-minded, politically aware black man. And when people try to mock him as someone who supposedly thinks he's the smartest guy in every room, the internet pushed back hard because Brown actually is or has the resume to make people uncomfortable. You understand what I'm saying? Graduate level coursework, has a NASA internship, has lectured at Harvard, has a role as an MIT Media Lab fellow. And Brown responded to that. Smartest guy in the room attacked by saying intelligence takes different forms and that he never told anybody he was the smartest person in the room. But again, for the greater point, that matters because Jaylen Brown exposes the contradiction. Some people tell black athletes to be more than athletes, but then when they actually become more than athletes, some people get nervous. If he is loud and ignorant and chaotic, he's a stereotype. If he's disciplined, educated, and independent and intellectually confident, he's difficult. If he thinks deeply, he's arrogant. If he questions power, he's hard to control. If he knows his value, he's a problem. That tells you something. The issue isn't always black fatigue. Sometimes it's fatigue with independent black intelligence. Sometimes people aren't tired of black chaos. Sometimes they're tired of black men who are too smart, too self-possessed, and too hard to manipulate and too aware of the business around them. But that actually proves my larger point. The future can't be built on that old narrow image of the black athlete. We have to stop teaching every tall black boy that his highest calling is to dunk a basketball. You hear what my little boy said? What are we going to get this year? Somebody type straight A's in the chat room. Straight A's. So if he wants to go to law school or engineering school, somebody type straight A's in the chat room. We have to stop teaching every fast running little black boy, a little boy who can fight well, that he could be the next champion. You see, of the heavyweight champion. We have to stop handing our children over to sports corporations and praying they get chosen. And so Jaylen Brown is valuable not only because he can play, he's valuable because he demonstrates that what it looks like when athletic talent is combined with education and confidence, strategy, and social awareness, and long-term thinking. That's the model. That's not just an athlete. That's not just an entertainer. That's not just a product. That is a complete man. Now, that being the case, the bad news for us foundational Black Americans is that comfort has a cost. We used to be much leaner. We fat now. Somebody type fat and rich. And when we were skinny, we dominated sports. We not only were we hungry, but we were literally hungry. Now look around. Too many of us are sitting down eating. Y'all eating right now. You got some barbecue, you probably stuffed right now. We're eating too much. We move too little. We call it success. The CDC has reported that the adult obesity in America remains extremely high. In 2017, March 2020, data showed non-Hispanic Black men and women had the highest obesity prevalence of 49.5. 50% of us are fat. You understand? Y'all hear me? 50%. How you gonna be a world-class athlete and you are obese? You cannot even roll your big old self out the bed. You can't even touch your toes. And your kids fat too. You fat, the kids, everybody fat, man. You understand? They said 38.7% of Black men are obese and 55.9% of Black women age 20 and older are obese. That's a lot of fried chicken and grits we've been eating. That's a severe obesity problem. That comfort. So let's not play the game. You know what? You know why they got a bunch of Eastern Europeans playing in the NBA on the roster? Because they got a war zone going over. That's why. They hungry. A lot of us are not built like our grandparents, are we? You out there putting sunscreen on. They was out there laying pipes in 100-degree weather. Our grandparents walked everywhere. They worked hard. They ate less processed food, and they burned calories just living. We sit down all day. We order food from Apple. You don't even have to do your own grocery shopping anymore. You will circle the parking lot for 10 minutes looking for the spot closest to the front door of the grocery store. And don't let nobody get in the way. You'll bust a cap on them. You will fight a person over a closer parking spot. It's a matter of life and death with your big chunky selves. Sad. Sad. Your knees hurt. You don't want to walk anywhere. It's not a genetic decline, it's a lifestyle change. That's what happens when you have success without discipline, when you have prosperity without movement. That's what happens when people finally get access to comfort, but don't always manage comfort wisely with your big old selves. Me too, but I lost 30 pounds. Shout out to Uncle D. I'm going to try to get down to 240. I'm under about 289 pounds. I got to get under 240. I ain't going to be like y'all. I ain't going to be all wide out, tired, out of breath like y'all, okay? I'm on my way down, and I ain't taking them shots either. But again, all of that matters for sports because sports rewards hunger. Sports rewards pain, tolerance, repetition, sacrifice, and it rewards a child who runs when nobody is watching. Shout out to Torian Jones. It rewards the one who lifts weights when nobody's clapping and eat right when everybody else is eating garbage and sleeps when everybody else is online and trains when everybody else is comfortable. That used to be us in a lot of sports because for many Black children, sports felt like the only door that was open to us. But now we have other doors, and that's a blessing. But it also means that the hunger that once separated us is no longer automatic. That's why Black America has to adjust. Our ancestors fought, bled, worked, marched, built churches, built schools, built businesses, sent children to college so we could become doctors, lawyers, engineers, accountants, pilots, professors, investors, developers, entrepreneurs, owners, and yes, athletes too. But sports can't remain that master plan. A torn ACL shouldn't be able to destroy a Black family's wealth strategy. A coach's opinion shouldn't determine whether a child has a future. A scout's missing your child AAU tournament shouldn't be the difference between generational success and family disappointment. An old sports pipeline that's changing. The competition is global. All right, don't confuse height with destiny, speed with a life plan. And don't confuse real generational wealth with a highlight reel. You understand? So I don't think the NBA has Black fatigue. I think the NBA has chaos fatigue. I think America has chaos fatigue. I don't think America has Black fatigue. I think America and the NBA and everybody else has immaturity fatigue. Black people, I love y'all. You know I love y'all. Y'all can call me coon and house Negro all you want, but I'm going to tell it, whether you want to hear it or not. I think that the rest of society has risk fatigue. And I think that Black America has comfort fatigue. And that's why we don't like people telling us what to do or what we need to correct some of our cultural issues. We're not failing because we're Black. We're adjusting because we finally have options, but options require wisdom. Comfort requires discipline, and wealth requires maintenance. Intelligence requires courage. And if we do that, or should I say, if we don't teach our children that, then the world is going to find hungrier people that will. This is Uncle D. God bless you all. I love you. And as always said this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe.